What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories. Pirate, undefeated after 20 years. 1 Astronomical Unit Chapter 1. The person is at Ohara Robin's house and starts to sign in. One Piece World, West Blue, the famous archaeological island Ohara. Ronan was lying in the shade of a big tree, with a grass in his mouth, his eyes slightly closed, as if he was falling asleep. Ronan, go home for dinner soon. Not far away, a beautiful voice came, waking Ronan up. Come on, Robin, is Aunt Orovia back? Ronan opened his eyes, stood up, and looked not far away. There was an 8 or 9-year-old black-haired little girl standing there, with big eyes and a fat baby face, looking cute, not someone else, it was Robin. It has been more than a month since Ronan came to Pirate World. He didn't know why, so he crossed into Pirate World. Such a world where pirates are rampant is very dangerous, but fortunately, he appeared in Ohara. The people here are very friendly, and he was lucky enough to be taken in by Robin's mother Orovia. Yeah, my mother came back and brought us gifts. Robin ran over quickly, standing in front of Ronan and looking up at Ronan happily. Ronan was not very old in this world. After he crossed into this world, his body became smaller and he is now bigger than Robin. 2 years old, that is to say. Ronan is only 10 years old now. Fortunately for this age in Ohara, if it were thrown on an unfamiliar island and was plundered by pirates, it might belch inexplicably. That's great, let's go back, Ronan smiled, took Robin's hand and walked back. Suddenly, Ronan paused, his face showed a hint of surprise and joy. Ding! The system is recharged and bound to the host. 1%, 5%, 96%, 100% binding is complete. The sudden sound of the system shocked Ronan, but then he showed joy. System, sure enough, I just said, as a traverser, how can there be no standard cheat? In this more than a month, he has worked hard to study the language of the world. He has a high IQ, and he has been able to communicate normally, but now, his cheat has finally been officially opened. The recharge is complete. That is to say, this system has already come into this world with me when I crossed, but the energy is insufficient, and it has been recharged for more than a month. Fortunately, it is officially opened now. Ronan thought about it for a moment, and then began to ask in his mind. Advertisement, system, what functions do you have? Host, this system is a sign-in system. You can get a variety of rewards when you sign in at various places. The rewards come from the heavens and the world. There are skills, items, bloodlines, exercises, etc. This system is the first time turn it on, and ask host to sign in for the first time, the system said. Sign-in system. Ronan pondered for a while, and then asked, are there any restrictions on the number of times you can sign in? Are there any level restrictions on the items you can get from sign-in? After all, just get the system, some problems should be clarified first. The number of check-ins is once a day, and the item level increases with the strength level of the host, the system said. Is that so? I know. Ronan nodded, and then thought about where to sign in for the first time. He decided, it's at Robin's house. Anyway, he can sign in once a day. Starting tomorrow, he is going to walk around Ohara, once a day, sooner or later. All Ohara sign-in is completed. After signing, I am not afraid that there is no place to continue to sign in. At that time, he can go out to sea and wave everywhere. With the passage of time, with the sign-in system in hand, his growth rate is absolutely unstoppable. At that time, what Marine Admiral, what 4 Emperors Shichibukai, all stood aside. After a while, Ronan and Robin had returned to Robin's house. This was a small but cozy hut. At the door of the house, stood a gentle woman with silver hair. At this moment, she was looking at the 2 people who came with a smile in her eyes. Mom, we are back. Robin jumped over and took Orovia's hand with a smile and said, when brother Ronan heard that you came back with a gift, he immediately took me to find you. When Ronan heard this, he touched his nose speechlessly. Is he the kind of person who can't walk when he sees a gift? Aunt Orovia, you are back, Ronan greeted politely. Well, Ronan, when I'm not at home, thanks to you taking care of Robin. Orovia smiled and nodded, then touched Robin's little head and said, you didn't trouble Ronan, did you? No, how could it be possible? I'm so cute. Robin rolled Shui Lingling's big eyes and immediately retorted. It's fine if I don't have it. I've already prepared the food, so I can wash my hands and get ready to eat. Wow, I can finally eat my mother's meal. Advertisement. Robin cheered and ran away. Aunt Orovia, how long will it take to come back this time? Ronan thought for a while and asked. Calculated by time, the plot has developed to this point, and Buster Call is coming soon, right? Originally, Ronan wanted to find a chance to take Robin to run away and avoid Buster Call. After all, others are weak and can only run away in advance based on his familiarity with the plot, to prevent the appearance of himself and change the plot, causing Robin and himself all died under the gunfire of the Marine fleet. And now, with the sign-in system in hand, he has new ideas. Ohara is a world-famous archaeological island. He doesn't want to just give up, but wants to save everyone on this island. In the future, he made plans, and he stayed on this island for more than a month, and the other people on the island were also very good to him. If he can be saved, he must be saved. Well, I will stay for a while, but there is still an archaeological mission to be done next month. There are more than 30 other people who are going together. This time, I heard that there are clues to the historical text. I must not give up. Orovia solemnly said. Okay. Ronan knew that Orovia would never give up once the clues in the historical text were involved, so he no longer persuaded, but reminded. Auntie, you must pay attention to safety. I heard recently, the world government has been very resistant to the discovery of historical texts, and there may be accidents. Don't worry, I understand. The two came to the house. Robin was already sitting at the table and eating with his hands. Orovia and Ronan couldn't help but smile when they saw this. That night, in Ronan's room, he was lying on the bed, communicating with the system in his mind. System, start signing in. The number of check-ins today is not useful. If you don't use it anymore, it will be overridden by a new check-in tomorrow, so it can't be wasted. Ding. Starting to sign in for the first time, the sign-in is successful. Congratulations to host, there is a novice bonus for the first sign-in, and an additional sign-in bonus blessing, a tenfold increase in the reward for sign-in. Ding, congratulations to host, get the sign-in skill, Conqueror's Haki. Ronan was shocked. The first time he signed in, he still had this benefit. The reward was multiplied tenfold, and he immediately got Conqueror's Haki from Conqueror's Haki in One Piece World. It was really cool. You can sign in once a day. There's a reward every day. It is conceivable that Ronan's strength will rapidly increase with a rocket-like terrifying speed. Chapter 2, an extremely rich reward. Ronan is growing rapidly. Early the next morning, Ronan woke up early, said hello to Orovia, and Ronan went out. Yesterday, the reward for the first sign-in was so generous, he couldn't wait to start the second sign-in. However, the first sign-in has a novice bonus, so that you can get such a good reward as Conqueror's Haki at once. If you want to sign in for the second time today, the reward you get should not be so good, but it doesn't matter. According to the system, as his strength grows, the rewards for sign-in will also grow, and the sign-in location will also affect the quality of the sign-in reward. Thinking of this, Ronan felt a little regretful. He knew that when he checked in for the first time, he would find a famous place, the largest library in Ohara, or under the world-famous giant tree. He shook his head. Now that the results have been obtained, there is no need to think about it. Ronan wandered around, looking for a suitable sign-in place. Because the sign-in system cannot sign in again at Robin's house, it must be changed to another place. According to the difference between the distance and location, according to the range stated by the system, as long as it is not at Robin's house, he can sign in again. So, he thought about it, walked towards Ohara's large library. Along the way, I met many people on the islands. Most of them were knowledgeable elderly people. Many of these people were archaeologists from all over the world, and there were also many local people who treated Ronan well. They all greeted him. Ronan also politely returned to them, and after arriving at the large library, he signed in directly. System, just check in today. Ronan wrote, ding. Ohara Grand Library has successfully signed in. Congratulations to the host for obtaining a special skill, Floating Cloud Swordsmanship. Flowing Cloud Sword Technique. What the hell? Ronan touched his chin. This kind of swordsmanship should come from a certain martial arts world. It doesn't match this pirate world. Host, Floating Cloud Swordsmanship comes from a certain high martial arts world in the heavens and worlds. It belongs to the first-class swordsmanship. It also has an effect on the world you are in. There are also swordsmen in this world. There is not much skill in the use of swordsmanship. However, some cultivating techniques and the like have great limitations. Hearing Ronan's doubts, the system explained, I see. Ronan nodded suddenly, and then received Flowing Cloud Sword skill, which is a sword skill in the form of a book. After he received it, he directly chose to use it. The whole book turned into a stream of light and integrated into his mind. Among them, it became a special skill. At this point, just the second day after the system was opened, Ronan had 2 skills, both of which were active skills. Advertisement. System, open the properties panel, Ronan said. Host. Ronan age, 10 years old physique, 8 strength, 6. Agility. 9 spirit. 34 Conqueror's Haki. LV1 Flowing Cloud Sword Technique. LV1. Why is the mental attribute so high? Oh yes, it should be a bonus of Conqueror's Haki. Ronan thought for a while and realized it, but the reason for the low power attribute is nothing else, because he is too young. How much power can this small arm and calf have? System, are the attributes of a normal adult at 10 points? Ronan asked. Yes, host, the 4-dimensional attributes of normal ordinary people after adulthood are almost around 10 o'clock. Host, because of the awakening of Conqueror's Haki, the mental attributes have reached many times that of ordinary people. After using Conqueror's Haki, you can stun ordinary people with a radius of 100 meters, and all enemies whose spiritual attributes are lower than yours. The system said, Conqueror's Haki, it's worthy of the magical skill of the army, but it's still not good at dealing with powerful enemies. It would be better if it is seen and heard, Ronan said with a smile. Host continues to sign in, and one day you will get observation Haki. The system said, after all, in terms of probability, it is easier to obtain the abilities and items in this world. Ronan smiled when he heard the words, and then looked at Liu Yin's swordsmanship. This type of swordsmanship is obviously not that simple to improve. It also requires practice. If you want to quickly improve your strength, you have to get a sword. Ronan thought for a while, turned his head and walked towards the town, and came to a blacksmith's shop. From the uncle blacksmith, he asked for a forged and discarded sword. The uncle blacksmith didn't ask him for money, just as he was. Just for fun. Holding the sword to the quiet place where he used to stay before, Ronan began to wield the long sword to practice Liu Yin's swordsmanship. Advertisement time passed, and in a blink of an eye, another month passed. During this month, Ronan checked in every day and received various rewards every day. Various items and skills appeared in endlessly, but none of them was as good as the first time he checked in. During this month, most of the items obtained were potions of various consumption types. Only 2 items had a great effect on him. One was obtained by signing in at the giant tree, and the other was obtained by signing in at the beach. Therapeutic medicine. It can heal various minor injuries and relieve serious injuries. The quantity is 8 bottles. Psychopharmaceutical. It can replenish mental consumption and relieve mental damage. The quantity is 8 bottles. Physical strength potion. It can supplement physical energy consumption, increase endurance, and relieve hunger. The quantity is 10 bottles. In addition to these 26 bottles of consumable potions, there are also some other items, such as Sunwheel Knife. A weapon from the world of ghosts, which has a restraining effect on evil ghosts, and is equivalent to a good fast knife level weapon in this world. Sickness Talisman. A low-level talisman from the world of cultivation. After use, it increases agility by 10 points and lasts for 30 minutes. Devil Fruit. Mera-mera Fruit. This world item, Logia Devil Fruit, has great potential. Julang. A large ship, comparable to the world's naval headquarters' large warship. The following 4 items have a tremendous effect on Ronan. The Sunwheel Knife from the Demon Slayer world officially replaced the discarded iron sword he brought from the Uncle Blacksmith and became his exclusive weapon. And the fast-moving talisman is also a big hole card in a critical moment. Not to mention Mera-mera Fruit. This is the devil fruit that belongs to Ace in the original plot. Now Ace hasn't been born yet, or just born. Anyway, this fruit has now been obtained by Ronan, and he has been digested. He is now also a demon fruit power. Finally, the huge ship Julang. This is a ship comparable to a large marine warship. It is estimated that it is not much worse than the flagship of the 4 emperors. At this point, in just 1 month of opening the system, Ronan's strength has rapidly increased to a terrifying realm. Whether it is his own strength or foreign strength, perhaps compared with the other big pirates, the only difference is only the manpower. System, open the properties panel. Ronan said in a deep voice, 1 month has passed, and tomorrow is Orovia's departure. According to the plot, this time Orovia is gone, and the Buster Call fleet is about to come and destroy Ohara. He's in this month's time, has been working hard to improve himself. The purpose is naturally to save Ohara under Buster Call, and even destroy the incoming marine fleet. Chapter 3. Soaring Strength. Marine is here. Host, Ronan. Age, 10 years old. Physique, 68 strength, 66 agility, 69. Spirit, 94. Conqueror's Haki. LV7 Flowing Cloud Sword Technique, LV7. Mera-mera Fruit, LV6 Therapeutic Medicine, 8 bottles. Psychopharmaceuticals, 8 bottles. Physical Potion, 10 bottles. Sunwheel Knife, Swift Talisman, Giant Wave Number. Looking at his attribute panel, Ronan smiled confidently at the corner of his mouth. His current strength has reached a level far beyond that of ordinary people. Although he doesn't know the specific strength, he will definitely not be much worse. This kind of feeling, with Conqueror's Haki and Mera-mera Fruit, as well as various items as the whole cards, he is close to the Shichibukai level. How long has this passed? Advertisement within a month. The system was turned on for only 1 month. His strength has grown from a level that is weaker than that of ordinary people, and has grown rapidly to this level, and the days to come are still long. Ronan can't imagine how he will become in the future. The intrepid existence is at least the level of the 3 generals of the 4 emperors, maybe more than that. Ronan's cultivation speed is very fast. Within a month, he has raised Conquerors to level 7, and Flowing Cloud Swordsmanship to level 7, and Mera-mera Fruit is a bit close, but also has level 6. These 3 items are superimposed on him. In his body, one can imagine how strong he is now. Orovia is about to leave, and the marine fleet is about to attack. I want to improve my strength again in the next time. Although my current strength is not afraid of the opponent, even with the giant wave in hand, it can keep some people. Life, but he was not sure to destroy the marine fleet that came to attack. I hope to sign some powerful items in the next few days. Ronan thought. According to the original plot, after Orovia left, she was not in danger of her life, but the people with her were basically dead. Ronan could not stop this exploration operation. If he followed along, she would be able to avoid death. But Ohara is gone here, he has to stay. The Julang was still in the system space, and he didn't rashly take it out for use. This is what he left behind. If it really doesn't work, he can still run away, right? A few days later, Orovia and the fellow archaeologists left. Ronan privately gave Orovia some healing potions and physical potions as a precaution. In a few days, he checked in again and got some more items, mainly potions, not many good things, but fortunately, Marine has not come yet, he still has time. During this time, Ronan every day, he is practicing swordsmanship and training the abilities of Haki and Mera-mera Fruit, striving to continuously improve his strength in a short period of time. Robin has already obtained flower fruit at this time. She obtained the fruit earlier. When she was very young, she obtained flower fruit while playing in the wild. After eating it out of curiosity, she gained the fruit ability. Therefore, I was disgusted by other friends on Ohara Island, and felt that she had acquired a strange ability like a devil. Because of fear, she would not play with her, and she would be lonely. And Ronan's arrival made Robin overjoyed. Robin is particularly dependent on Ronan. Basically, she will do what Ronan says. So Ronan asked her to step up to exercise the flower fruit ability. She didn't get lazy either. Together with Ronan, they exercise every day. It has been 2 weeks since Orovia left. On this day, there was finally movement in the distance of the ocean. Ronan also got the news. He came to the beach with a solemn expression and looked at the huge ships on the sea level, of warships. Marine fleet, finally here, Ronan sighed, then his face was full, and the corners of his mouth showed coldness. Since Marine has arrived, there is nothing to say. The other party is here to destroy Ohara, and he will never show mercy. In the past half-month, he checked in every day and finally obtained a few powerful items recently. A lot of potions have been obtained, and even a potion that hasn't been seen before appears. It may be because as his strength increases, the level of the items obtained by signing in is also increasing. Longevity Potion. A potion from the magical world. After use, it can increase the user's lifespan for 100 years. The number is 3 bottles. This longevity potion is a good thing. A potion that can directly increase life expectancy is extremely precious. Advertisement. In addition to the longevity potion, the other 3 powerful items he obtained were a powerful backstop against Marine this time. Sword Emperor Sword Chi. A piece of talisman paper that seals the Gaowu World Sword Emperor Sword Chi. Powerful, please use it with caution. Sea King's Summoning Scroll. From this world, a relic left by a mermaid princess hundreds of years ago. After use, you can summon 10 Sea Kings to help. Force Field Protection Device. A force field protection device from the high-tech world. After opening, it can protect a radius of 10 kilometers from physical attacks. The duration is calculated based on the energy reserve, from 10 minutes to 30 minutes. These 3 items were powerful items that Ronan had signed in the last 2 days, and they were considered top-notch. The Sword Emperor Sword Chi, from which I don't know from which martial arts world, its power is definitely not to be underestimated. It can be regarded as the strongest in a single attack. From the point of view of the sharpness of the Sword Chi, even if the 3 admirals come together, Ronan is sure. Severely hurt the opponent, not to mention that this Buster Call is only a Vice Admiral. The Sea King's Summoning Scroll is also a powerful item for group battles. With 10 Sea Kings in hand, it is not impossible that the entire Marine army that will be attacked will be destroyed. And that force field protective device was a sharp weapon he used to protect the entire island, so that he could kill without worries. Ronan stood alone on a cliff by the sea, looking at the fleet coming from the sea indifferently, without speaking. At this moment in Ohara, many people also noticed the incoming fleet, and they were all in chaos. The archaeologists on Ohara didn't know that they were targeted by the world government. In their previous explorations, they were blocked by the world government many times, but they never expected that this time the world government would directly publish to them. After Buster Call, they don't know that these fleets are here to destroy Ohara, thinking it is to capture them, so although they are chaotic, they are not desperate. Ronan, you are here. Behind Ronan, Robin's voice came, making Ronan slightly surprised. Robin, what are you doing here? Go back home and hide. Remember to hide in the basement. I do not. Robin stubbornly ran behind Ronan and pouted. The island has been messed up. Everyone found that the Marine fleet is coming. The elders said they came to arrest us. Ronan, is this true? What? Chapter 4 Buster Call is coming. 1 person, 1 boat to meet the enemy. No, Ronan shook his head. Let me just say it, definitely not here to catch us. Robin breathed a sigh of relief immediately, but at this moment, Ronan said again. They are not here to catch us, but to kill us. They want to kill Ohara. Huh? Robin immediately showed an unbelievable look. Ronan turned his head and looked at the sea. There, the fleet that was already close to Ohara was spreading out, and each of its guns had been aimed at Ohara, waiting for the commander to fire. On the big sea, on the flagship deck of the Marine fleet, there is a Marine Vice Admiral and another CP9 member, Spandane, sent by the world government to supervise the battle. Just Ohara. If I personally come to supervise the battle, none of you can escape. Spandane sneered, standing proudly on the warship with his hands on his back, staring coldly into the distance. The island, the eyes are murderous. Master Vice Admiral, you can fire, remember, you can't let anyone go, Spandane said in a deep voice to a Marine Vice Admiral next to him. Clear. Although the Marine Vice Admiral felt that it was a bit bad for ordinary people to do it, he couldn't help it. This was an order from the world government and he had to execute it. Everyone listened to the order and fired. The order was issued, and the countless seamen on the major warships that had been prepared for a long time, one by one, controlled their artillery to aim at the island, and began to launch a ruthless artillery attack on Ohara. Rumbling. After a burst of artillery fire, the entire island was covered by fire, and countless shells rose into the sky, crashing towards Ohara. Gosh, they opened fire. No, avoid it, hurry up and take the children to hide. On the island of Ohara, countless people shouted in horror. None of them expected that the Marine fleet would open fire without saying anything. It was so cruel. By the sea, Robin also widened his eyes, and shouted incomprehensibly. How dare they shoot directly? There are so many people on the island, so many innocent people, as well as children and old people. There is nothing they dare not do. The whole world belongs to them. What else do they dare not do? Advertisement. Ronan snorted coldly, and then looked up at the sky where countless shells were bombarded. The entire sky was covered by black shells. Without him, Ohara would be completely destroyed by Marine as if he were in the original. Ronan, let's find a place to hide. Wait for mom and others to come back to save us. Robin's scared face was pale, and he exclaimed a little bewildered. Need not. Ronan shook his head, and then began to move, directly opening the force field protection device first, otherwise, he has not been able to withstand so many shells alone. After a slight buzzing sound, A translucent force field has covered the entire Ohara, and countless cannonballs all hit the force field shield, smashing the shield with layers of ripples, but it was unable to dissipate it in a short period of time. The force field is crushed. It is impossible for this kind of elementary artillery to break the force field protection device. Basically, the energy consumed is negligible. The entire device is still enough to last for nearly half an hour and half an hour. Within an hour, it was enough for Ronan to eliminate the marine fleet. Robin, you stand here and don't move, don't run into the sea, you know? Ronan exhorted Robin. Oh, well, I know, I will definitely not run around. Robin was still curiously looking at the semi-transparent shield that suddenly appeared in the sky. Now that he heard Ronan's words, he immediately understood that this was Ronan's method, and he immediately promised that he would not run around. Ronan waved his hand and released the Julang from the system space. In the ocean under the cliff, a huge ship suddenly appeared. Ronan kicked off the cliff and landed directly on the giant wave. Then he turned the rudder, the sails swelled, and he carried him directly. He headed towards the line of the fleet. Wow, Ronan is so powerful, he made such a big ship with a wave of his hand, and this translucent cover that can block the artillery. Where did he come out from? He is really amazing. Robin on the cliff was staring at the stars and looked at Ronan, who was leaving the boat, with admiration. He also obediently did not run around, but stood on the cliff and waited for Ronan. What happened? What the hell is this? It can block the shells. It's so strange, I have never seen it before. Is it some weird devil fruit ability? Marine fleet, above the flagship. Seeing that all the shells were blocked by an inexplicable protective cover, all the marines were stunned, with a dull expression, completely unable to understand what it was. Spandane frowned, looked at the shield above Ohara with a little surprise, and said in astonishment, what is this? It can actually block the bombardment. Advertisement, no, I don't know. The Naval Headquarters Vice Admiral on the side is also confused. He has fought with pirates in his life, and has encountered some powerful pirates. He has even fought with the Four Emperors pirate group, but this scene is a sight he had never seen before. Damn it. Spandane glared at the island angrily, and snorted coldly. Give me a step-up attack, no matter what the hell he is, blow him up for me. Clear. The Marine Vice Admiral on the side was also a little angry. It was originally a matter of hand. Facing his powerful naval headquarters fleet, isn't an island instantly destroyed? As a result, there was an accident now. Why didn't this make him a little angry? Naval Headquarters Vice Admiral immediately issued an order to increase the attack force again, and for a while, a more ambitious artillery attack launched an attack on Ohara. Rumble. And on the sea under the sky of artillery fire, a huge ship headed against the wind and headed towards the marine fleet. It didn't take long for Ronan's giant wave to be discovered by Marine. After all, with such a big ship, Marines are not blind, so how could they not be able to find it? Sir, a large ship was found on the sea ahead. Looking at the direction, it came from the direction of Ohara Island. A Marine messenger hurriedly came to Spandane and Naval Headquarters Vice Admiral to report. What? A big ship is coming from Ohara. The two of them were shocked and looked at each other. Then they burst into killing intent in their eyes. Hey, are you the survivors who escaped? Spanda smiled cruelly at the corner of his mouth. Hey, send me 2 warships to sink this ship, Spandane said indifferently with a big wave of his hand. This, 2 adults, don't you need to be captured? Chuan Lingbing hesitated. No need, just sink it, understood, sink directly. The messenger left, and the order was passed on. The 2 warships left the formation and surrounded directly towards Ronan's location. The muzzle of the warship was also aimed at the Julang. On the Julang, Luo Nan's expression was condensed, his gaze was calm, and he looked at the 2 warships from the encirclement and suppression indifferently, and whispered. Just sent 2 warships to encircle and suppress me? Wouldn't you look down on me too much? Destroy your 2 warships first, and see how you face my attack next. Chapter 5 Sword Chi rushes into the sky. Slay the ship with 1 sword. The audience was shocked. The warship approached the Julang and surrounded it from both sides. The sailors on the 2 warships showed a triumphant smile. Why? Ha ha ha. There is only 1 person on this big ship? A seaman standing on the observation deck pointed at the Julang and laughed and passed the news. The other seaman who received the news laughed loudly. You can't read it wrong, do you? A seaman asked in doubt. I heard that it was a ship that escaped from the island. How could there be only 1 person? That's right, there is really only 1 person. The seaman on the observation deck quickly replied. The whole ship is empty, there is really only 1 person, etc. The seaman seemed to have discovered something and hurriedly called for a stop. Below, all the sea soldiers immediately felt tight, and then suddenly, they were sure that there was an ambush on the other ship, and just said, how could there be 1 person in a ship of this size? There must be other people. However, the seaman on the observation platform stammered and shouted. Then, on that big ship, there is actually only 1 child. Yes, only 1 child. That person is a 10-year-old child. What? The Marines on the deck were suddenly in an uproar. What the hell? There is only 1 person on such a big ship. Don't you say that this person is just a teenager. Is this here to die? On their 2 warships, there were hundreds of people. There were hundreds of adult Marines, all armed with muskets, and on the warships there were also shipborne artillery. They happily surrounded the big ship, and they faced only a 12-year-old child. Suddenly, all the Marines felt a sense of disappointment as if they were killing chickens with a sledgehammer, or a cannon hitting mosquitoes. What? There is only 1 child on the boat, so happy. A seaman shook his head and sighed. Yeah, I thought there was credit for it. The other seaman also said disappointedly. Colonel, on one of the warships, a seaman came to the captain. There is only one child on this ship. Do we still need to sink it? The command issued by Vice Admiral is to sink. The captain said solemnly. If the order is so, we will execute it. Such a big ship, can be worth a lot of money. Is it a little bit to sink a small child? The Navy who sent Ling was hesitant. Quote. Hearing this, the captain hesitated. After all, if a ship of this size could be captured, it would be worth a lot of money, but after thinking about it, he still shook his head and asked for it. If he disobeys the order, the price paid is a bit high. Even if he captures the opponent's ship, he will still have to bear the responsibility when the time comes to question him. You don't need to be captured, just sink it. Advertisement. A similar thing happened on another warship, and the final choice of the two captains was the same. Afraid of taking responsibility, they finally chose to fire Ronan's Julong. Calibrate the target and shoot. The Marines yelled, and then their guns aimed at the Julong, ready to fire the cannon to destroy the Julong. At this moment, the Julong has gradually approached the two warships not far away. On the Julong, Ronan's eyes flickered, and the sword air on the sunwheel in his hand appeared. The distance is still a little far away. If you get closer, Conquerors will be able to knock all these guys down in an instant, and now, you have to use your whole cards. Ronan sighed, then suddenly raised his head and looked at the two warships about to fire the guns. Let's start with these two warships. Ronan casually tore the talisman paper that was sealed with the sword spirit from the Sword King of the Gawu world. Hiss. After a crisp sound, the air above the entire sea was quiet, as if solidified, and a terrifying sharp air burst out. With Ronan as the center, a sword chi soaring to the sky pierced the sky, and even pierced the white clouds in the sky. The silver-white soaring sword chi was wrapped on the sun wheel, and the sword pointed to the sky, following Ronan's right hand. The wave of the ship crashed down to a warship. Boom. Laugh. After a crisp sound, this heavily armed warship was chopped in half by the terrorist sword energy in the horrified gazes of the seamen on another warship. All the warships touched the sword energy, and even approached the sword energy. All of the seamen were torn to pieces by sword chi, blood splashed, stumps and broken arms scattered in the sea, and the entire warship divided by sword chi slowly sank into the sea. For a while, the scene of the sea, which was still in full swing, fell silent. Not only was another warship close to this warship, but the entire Buster Call fleet not far away was shocked and quiet. The audience was shocked. Countless seamen were stunned, looking at the sinking warship here with horror, their mouths open and speechless. This. After a long while, a seaman stammered, but couldn't say a complete word. Then, what the hell is that? Another seaman muttered to himself with his mouth and eyes wide open. He only saw a silver light flashing by, and then the warship was split into two. With such a terrifying power, can admirals full shot of such a terrifying force be able to achieve it? Do not know. Advertisement. For small seamen like them, a big figure of the level of admiral is not what they can imagine at all, and they can only look up. Not only the Marines were dumbfounded, even Spandane and Vice Admiral were dumbfounded. Well, what's going on? Spanda shouted with a sullen face. I don't know. Vice Admiral's brow furrowed deeply, and he couldn't figure out what was going on at all, but he understood that something went wrong, something big happened. There is a problem on that ship, Vice Admiral said in a deep voice. Nonsense, the white light just cut off a warship at once, all fools know that there is a problem. Spandane said coldly. Don't worry about Ohara, there is that weird cover, and it will not be possible in a short time. Blast, and now there is a problem with the ship that suddenly rushed over, then gather all your strength to kill this ship for me. I think so too. Vice Admiral nodded. They have been blasting at Ohara for so long, but the cover that hung over Ohara seemed unbreakable. It couldn't be blasted at all. Now there are weird ships approaching. Just in case, you must fix this first. Just a boat. Subsequently, the headquarter Vice Admiral decisively ordered the entire fleet to begin to encircle the Julong, wanting to destroy the Julong. Without waiting for the entire fleet to approach, Luo Nan's expression was condensed, feeling the vast and endless terrifying power of the Sword Emperor's sword aura, and he sighed in his heart. What a terrifying power, it deserves to be the Sword Emperor's sword aura from the world of Gawu, a sword. Just split a warship, if he is here, it can't be said that one person can overturn the whole world. Single quote. However, with the sign-in system in hand, it won't be long before I can have such a powerful force, even stronger. Single quote. Ronan is very confident about this, and can even be said to be confident. Then, next is another warship, the Buster Call fleet has come close. Haha, just die. When Ronan set his sights on another warship, he also noticed the movement of the entire Buster Call fleet. Obviously, the other party was shocked by his movement just now, but it didn't matter, he came to death. Since you have the courage to do it yourself, you have to endure it. Flowing Cloud Sword Technique. Cirrus Cloud Burst. Ronan let out a low cry, using the sword skills of Flowing Cloud's swordsmanship to control the remaining Sword Emperor's sword aura, and slammed towards another warship. Boom. This sword is even more terrifying than the one just now. The sword just now can only be said to be smashed casually, but now this sword is using the sword skill to control the sword energy, and there is a huge gap above the power. Rumble. Chapter 6 Kill Grace in a second. All the sea soldiers are terrified. The silver-white sword aura fell suddenly. The difference from the previous one is that almost no Marines survived on this warship that was severed by sword aura. On the last severed warship, there were some sailors who survived falling into the water. When the warship was cut off, a burst of sword aura exploded, like a cloud of gas, moving around. All the seamen that it touched were torn to the skin, cut off the flesh and blood, and died violently. The whole warship was torn apart, it was too miserable. Sometimes a seaman who was lucky enough to fall into the water was trying to swim away in horror, but unfortunately, the burst of sword energy swept over, and in his desperate eyes, he ruthlessly tore his body to pieces, and blood spread in the ocean, attracting groups of bloodthirsty sharks foraging for food. However, even these bloodthirsty behemoths of the ocean did not dare to rush to the surface of the sea for food, instead hiding under the sea and devouring the sinking flesh and blood. There is still a little bit of sword chi remaining, and I can barely issue another sword. Ronan grabbed the sunwheel sword in his hand, smiled, and looked at the sinking warship indifferently, without a trace of unbearableness on his face. Regarding the Buster Call fleet that destroyed Ohara, he didn't have the slightest unbearableness and killed him. It's not too much. Ronan looked at the warships approaching again. This time it was not 2 warships, but all the remaining warships of the entire Buster Call fleet, about a dozen warships, including a large warship, even more than the Julong. The flagship of the larger fleet, its shipborne artillery has reached as many as 36th Gate, and its headquarters, Vice Admiral, is personally in charge. The original Vice Admiral is a human Vice Admiral. Ronan doesn't know that he is not a character in the original plot he is familiar with. There are still 20 years before the original plot opens. The current plot protagonist Luffy has not been born yet, even he Papa Doragon is still a few years older than Ronan. It is normal for these headquarters Vice Admiral Ronan not to know him. It is estimated that many of them will die within 20 years. The current pattern of world powerhouses is not the pattern that the 4 emperors Shichibukai will rule the ocean in the future. Who is the current Marine Admiral? Marine Commander Kong. Not sure. Single quote. Ronan was distracted thinking about these things. The Buster Call fleet had already approached. Ronan's cruel methods just did not scare them away, and even angered them. If you dare to attack Marine, no matter who you are, you will suffer a severe blow from Marine. There will be no place for you to survive in the entire 4 seas. A majestic and angry voice came from the flagship of the fleet, the voice of Vice Admiral. A kid who dares to fight Marine openly without knowing what type of devil fruit he has eaten. I really don't know how to write death words. Spandane said grimly at Ronan on the bow of the giant wave. Sink 2 warships, kill hundreds of seamen and 2 marine colonels, boy, you're done. Ronan had no expression on his face, and said with disdain, it's up to you. Arrogant, advertisement, act recklessly. When Ronan's calm and calm words were heard, Spandane and Vice Admiral became even more angry. Ronan obviously didn't put the 2 of them in their eyes and couldn't bear it. He had to be completely killed here. Otherwise, how to maintain the majesty of the world government? Isn't it possible that no one can ignore world government and Marine in the future? Kill him for me, Spanda roared, and for the first time he wanted to kill a person so much. Even if he gave the order to destroy Ohara before, he was cold and indifferent, but now, he can't keep his calm look. Ronan has been completely irritated. Him. He must be killed. Vice Admiral of the headquarters also yelled coldly. A little kid, I don't know where the courage dares to confront my marine fleet. Is it relying on the devil fruit ability that I don't know where to get? We have more than 10 warships here. His ability can deal with so many warships and so many seamen. It seems that I can't do anything if I don't take action. Well, let me see what else this little guy can do. After Vice Admiral said, he had already rushed out on the deck. At this moment, the flagship was already very close to the giant wave. He already understood that for such a person with the devil fruit ability, ordinary shells could no longer cause damage to him. Even if the opponent's ship was sunk, he might not be able to harm Ronan, so he decided to take action personally. Grid kill. Hey, Grace made the shot personally. When do I think you can be arrogant? Spandane gave a cold smile, then waved his hand to give an order. Give me a besieged opponent to prevent this guy from escaping after defeat. The leading messenger immediately delivered the order. More than a dozen warships surrounded the Julong, and then the seamen looked at Ronan viciously. They seemed to have seen the scene of Ronan being killed by Grace. Vice Admiral of the headquarters made the shot himself. Even if this teenage boy has the weird ability of devil fruit, he can't escape. After all, Grace is the headquarters of Vice Admiral. He also has the ability of devil fruit, plus the power of Marine 6 styles. No matter how you think about it, it's impossible to take a child from the other party, right? There is one more sword, so I will take your head as a memorial service. Ronan glanced at Grace who had leapt over from the flagship, and said calmly. The sunwheel sword in his hand was raised, and the sword Emperor's sword aura suddenly exploded, and a sword smashed towards Grace. Shield fruit. Block me. Grace's devil fruit is an ability that Ronan has not seen in the original work. The shield fruit can turn his arms into a shield with strong defensive power. The defensive ability is exploding. This is the source of his self-confidence. He didn't believe that Ronan could break his own shield fruit. Grace resisted the attacking sword aura and rushed towards Ronan, and at the same time, he was ready to take a quick shot to kill Ronan while blocking the attack. The sword Emperor's sword aura struck the shield formed by the shield fruit, and an unpleasant sound squeaked, like a blunt knife slashing on the hardwood, making a harsh and weird sound. Advertisement. Ronan's face was still calm, but Grace suddenly changed color. Do not. Grace was stunned, Feeling the terrible tingling from both arms, and seeing the shields that his arms turned into fragments, it was even more unacceptable to yell out. How is it possible? What is this ability? So sharp, unexpectedly, it is impossible to break my shield fruit ability. Impossible. No knowledge. Ronan snorted. This is the Sword Emperor's sword aura, with a very high personality. You are a vice admiral in your headquarters, and you dare to resist with the power of a devil fruit. Really do not live or die, you deserve to die here today. Laugh. With a loud snoring, Grace's body was abruptly chopped in half by the sword chi, and she fell on the deck of the Julong. The blood spilled all over the floor, and she belched. Ronan's Sword King's sword aura has also been exhausted. Next, he will lose this powerful sword aura, and he will have to face the encirclement and suppression of more than a dozen warships, but he has no fear at all. Without Grace, he has Devil, Vice Admiral, the headquarters of Fruit's ability, and everyone else is a group of chickens, and a group of local chickens. Ronan didn't pay attention to it at all. Do not. Grace Vice Admiral. How could it be? Grace Vice Admiral. The seamen who witnessed Grace being killed by Ronan with a single sword were stunned, and then they shouted in horror. All of them were as if they had seen a ghost. Unbelievable, unbelievable. In their eyes the powerful headquarters of Vice Admiral Grace was killed by Ronan with a single move. Spandane was even more stunned. His jaw almost fell, and waves of fear emerged in his heart. The fear of Ronan was not as strong as Grace, and he did not have the power of Devil Fruit. Killing Grace with a move, then deal with him, not to mention, a casual stab can result in his small life. Run. I have to run. This kid is a demon. Spanda took a few steps back in fear, his complexion changed drastically, his eyes rolled around, and the thought of running away had already started in his heart. The other Marines are not much better, so powerful Grace is planted, not to mention their ordinary Marines. Even though they are numerous, there are hundreds of Marines on more than 10 warships, but this does not give them much. Everyone was shocked by Ronan's intrepid sense of security. Chapter 8 The Four Seas Shake. Marine shakes. Another Roger-like powerful figure has appeared. Only 10 years old. How can there be such a villain in this world? Impossible. How can anyone believe such fake news? I don't believe that there will be such a wicked kid, ha ha ha, it's impossible. Yeah, I don't think it's possible either. Morgans is really asking for money. I dare to release such news. Hey, he is the president of the World Economic News Agency, and he has a lot of money. How do you think the money comes from? Does it all depend on selling fake news to make money? Ha ha ha. Over the world, countless people have seen such a news, and most of them didn't believe it. A 10-year-old kid who destroyed the powerful Buster Call fleet. There are really not many people who believe this news, and basically they think it is fake news. At this moment, Mariajoy, the big conference hall, and the 5 elders gathered together, their complexion was extremely ugly. Spandane, success is more than success. Among 5 elders, a short and fat old man said with a gloomy expression. Yeah, just a kid, a teenage kid, who solved the Buster Call fleet's more than 10 warships. Spandane and Grace, how did you do it? Another Gao thin 5 elders also said coldly. They are all dead, with nearly 1,000 naval soldiers, and more than a dozen warships all accounted for. The third speaker was a strong old man, and he said murderously, for this kind of dare to provoke the majesty of the world government people, we have to give a severe blow, otherwise, how can we suppress other pirates? Humph. Chunky 5 elders snorted. Naval headquarters must be held accountable for this matter, and let them continue to send fleets to encircle that person. By the way, has the identity of that child been found out? An elderly man with a beard who has been silent suddenly asked. It was found. The child was named Ronan. I heard that he was an orphan. He was caught by the Orovia family on Ohara Island. Adopted. I don't know how to have such a powerful force. Advertisement. As this power the ability of Devil Fruit. Why have you never heard of such fruit ability? The tall and thin old man rubbed his chin and asked in confusion. There is not much information, and the details need to be investigated. The strong old man shook his head, and then continued. About this Ronan, I suggest issuing a high reward, which must be suppressed before it grows up. Everyone, this son is only in his 10 years old, he is so cruel, and he will have it when he grows up. Well, as soon as the other 4 heard this, they suddenly started to ponder, with a hint of surprise in their eyes. Yeah, how old is this one? Now he can destroy a fleet alone. You know, the commander of the Buster Call fleet is Vice Admiral, who has the Devil Fruit ability in Marine 6 styles. In hand, ordinary big pirates are not necessarily his opponents, but this time he was planted in Ronan's hands. It is conceivable that if he grows up, it will have much impact on the world government in the future. Never stay here for a long time. It must be eliminated as soon as possible. So, what is the better amount of reward? A 5 elders asked. The amount of rewards must not be small, I think it's 1 billion Baileys. The sturdy 5 elders said harshly. Billion Baileys. When the others heard it, they were shocked. Generally, big pirates don't offer such a high reward, right? The large pirates who became independent after the dissolution of Rock's Pirate in New World have this worth. Even the few independent pirates of the Roger Pirate group that have just been executed are not worth that high. At this moment, the red-haired Shanks has just separated from the Roger Pirates and has not yet become one of the 4 emperors. Even the large pirates independent of Rock's Pirate, Whitebeard, Ant, Kaido and others are still fighting for territory in New World. The position of the 4 emperors hasn't stabilized yet, and of course the value is not much. In the current world structure, the most valuable Golden Lion has also been locked in Impel Down, Rock's Pirate has long been disbanded, and Whitebeard and others have not yet become a climate. It is the moment when the world government and Marine have the highest prestige. However, it was precisely because of the execution of Roger some time ago, and Roger opened the era of big pirates before his death. It is when the young people of the whole world yearn for the pirate's free and adventurous life, countless young people rushed to the ocean. The adventure started, and the major franchise countries are often looted by pirates. World government and Marine are busy times. At this time, Ronan happened again, causing 5 elders and others a headache. Then set it at 1 billion Baileys and let the bounty hunters solve this Ronan. I see how long this Ronan can last under the interception of countless bounty hunters. Chunky 5 elders said bitterly. Since it's decided, let's do it. Advertisement. ... Naval Headquarters, Marineford. At this moment, the Naval Headquarters Marshal will still be the head of the future military commander Kong, and the future Headquarters Marshal Sengoku will still be a Marine Admiral. Sengoku walked into the Marshal's mansion with Ronan's data on his face, looked at Kong, and said in a low voice, Marshal, Ronan's information is here. Kong nodded and looked calm. He took Ronan's information and looked at it. After a while, he looked up at Sengoku and said, Sengoku Admiral, what do you think of Ronan? This son has unlimited potential. Sengoku said in a deep voice, and a sharp glow burst into his eyes behind the glasses. I think you must not give him time to grow up, otherwise, he will definitely suffer from endless suffering in the future. Kong nodded and said with some appreciation. Yes, this little guy is only 10 years old now. He is really a young talent. Unfortunately, I am not a member of Marine, and because of the incident on Ohara Island, he has been my Marine has gotten a vengeance, and if that's the case, I absolutely can't keep him. So, are we going to hunt him down now? Sengoku said sternly, if we decide to hunt him down, it will be early. Sengoku, give me an order to let the West Blue Branch go all out to hunt Ronan and issue a reward for the wanted order of the world government against Ronan. Clear. Following Kong's hunting order and the world government's rewarding order, the Naval Headquarters Vice Admiral vibrated, the Seaman vibrated, and East Blue South Blue and West Blue North Blue vibrated, all of which were shocked by this chasing order. At the same time, the bounty hunters in the whole world are even more ecstatic. The reward of 1 billion Baileys, the reward is still a 10-year-old child. From the point of view of the bounty hunters, isn't it a catch? As a result, countless bounty hunters gathered towards West Blue eagerly, ready to take action on Ronan, as if the bounty of 1 billion Baileys was already in their pocket. Chapter 11 Sign in again. Reward. Marine 6 Styles. Early the next morning, in the port of Ohara Island, 2 thin figures stood on the deck of the Julong who was slowly leaving. It was Ronan and Robin who waved towards the port. There was also a group on the port. People waved goodbye to them. Robin put his hands down and sighed after he couldn't see the people in the port. Brother Ronan, this is the first time I have left Ohara. Have you always been on the island before? Ronan asked. He thought Robin had left with Orovia before, but think about Robin was only 8 years old. Orovia went to some ancient ruins, and the sea was not peaceful, so it was not possible to take her with her. Excusable. Yeah, this is the first time I have left. Wow, we are going to start an adventure. Going out to adventure, but the dream of many young people in this world, especially after Roger was executed, has become a trend. Or it is for the so-called treasure. Robin is no exception, but she is not for treasure, but to follow in the footsteps of her mother to analyze the text of history. Since you haven't been to sea before, how do you know where Aunt Orovia is? Ronan frowned. Doesn't Robin know the place at all? Do we have a chart? Robin glanced at Ronan, took out a chart, pointed and said, Hey, my mother went to West Blue Trafford Island this time. An archaeologist has discovered an ancient ruin on this island and unearthed it. There are many ancient relics. This time my mother and other people passed by. They must have been found in the ruins on that island. We must have time to rush over now. Hope, but there are only 2 of us on a ship as big as the Julong. It's a little difficult to maneuver, and it can't be driven fast. Ronan glanced at the huge ship. With insufficient manpower, he could only raise the sails as he did with the Buster Call fleet before, and proceeded freely in the direction of the wind, and there was not a navigator on the ship and encountered some storms. Even bad weather cannot be avoided. But the good thing is that this is West Blue, not the harsh ocean environment of the Grand Line. The chance of encountering a storm is much smaller. This can only be done temporarily, and when we have a chance in the future, we can recruit more crew members. Robin was also a little helpless. There were too few people on the ship, and the speed really couldn't increase. The speed of the ship was not fast, but as time passed, the giant wave was steadily heading towards Trafford Island. Advertisement. After several more days, finally passing by an island, Ronan breathed a sigh of relief. In the previous few days, he only checked in on the boat once and received a bottle of stamina potion. In the other days, he could not check in to get rewards, because on the same boat, you can't sign in repeatedly to get rewards. Now it's hard to come across an island and you can't waste it. You must go to the island to sign in, hoping to get a good reward. Ronan, this island is not big, and the name is not shown on the chart. It may be an unknown island. Let's go up and see if it is a desert island. If it is not a desert island, we will add some food and let the water set sail again. Robin's petite body was trying hard to turn the rudder, making the Julien lean towards the island. Okay, let me control the direction of the boat. Go and prepare. We will go to the island together later. Ronan came over, took the rudder and said, okay, I'll go and prepare. After being on the boat for several days, I can finally land on the island. I hope there are people on the island. I want to have a good meal. Robin happily went to prepare. After a while, Ronan found a more suitable place to stop the boat near the island, and the two cleaned up and logged onto the island. This island doesn't seem to be crowded. Robin was a little lost and said, could it be a desert island? No wonder, the name of this island is not on the chart. It's really a desert island. Ronan nodded and frowned. If it is a desert island, he can sign in and get rewards, but the rewards will definitely not be much better. If there is a chance, he will go to Mariajoy to sign in. It is estimated that the benefits will be much bigger. But he is not in a hurry now. In the future, there will be time, 4 large seas, and 2 sections of the Grand Line, plus Mariajoy, Marineford, you can sign in, and there are some more famous big islands, such as Alabasta, Amazon Lily, Ennie's Lobby, Dressrosa, even Loguetown, etc. He will not miss it. Huh, Ronan, come and see, is this a human footprint? Suddenly, Robin cheered happily and pointed to a ground in front of him. It's really a footprint, someone. Ronan smiled and nodded, looking at some of the footprints left on the ground. They were indeed human footprints. This proved that even though this is a deserted island, it is still inhabited and not completely unmanned. Since there are people, then there will be supplies, and it will be no problem to find some villagers who have settled here to buy some food and water. Advertisement. Go, let's follow the footsteps. Look at the middle of the island. Ronan pointed to the direction ahead. There was a forest in front of it, extending to the center of the island, like a basin, full of trees, flowers and plants. If the island there are people on board, it must be in the center of the island, where it is safer and more hidden, and it is not easy to be spotted by pirates and passing sea creatures. Okay, let's go over, hope there are more people on this island. Robin nodded and followed Ronan's side towards the center of the island. Ronan, while walking, communicated with the sign-in system in his mind. Now that he has come to this island, use the number of sign-ins today. This island is not a well-known big island, he signs directly to the entire island. This reward will be better. System, sign in on this island. Ronan said in his mind. Sign in successfully, congratulations to host, get reward, Marine 6 styles. The voice of the sign-in system rang in his mind, and then a book appeared in his mind. It was the Advanced Marine Skill of One Piece World, Marine 6 Styles. Marine 6 Styles. Ronan was a little surprised. He did not expect to sign in on such an inconspicuous desert island, which would allow him to directly acquire a skill like Marine 6 Styles. This is not a single skill, but a collection. The 6 moves, including finger pistol, moonwalk, etc., can be regarded as good rewards. System, how can such a deserted island get such a reward? Ronan asked curiously. Host, the rewards obtained by the sign-in system will increase with the improvement of host strength. This is what I explained to you before. The system said, when the host becomes stronger, you will get better and more powerful rewards. This time the host will directly sign into the entire island. In the future, you will not be able to continue to sign in on this island in a short period of time. That's why. A nice reward. Okay, I get it. Ronan nodded, smiling at the corners of his mouth. He was given such a good reward at once, which really made him feel good. At the moment when Ronan and Robin were about to reach the center of the island, suddenly there was a rustling sound in the woods ahead. Ronan raised his brows and looked up, only to see more than a dozen pirates armed with knives and guns. The woods popped out, surrounded by surprise and murderous eyes in his eyes. Ha ha ha, I didn't expect 2 little guys to come to the lair of our evil tiger pirate group. Brothers, tied them to me. Chapter 12 Interception of Ronan. Kill Haki Town. Where did the thief pop up? Ronan looked indifferent, looked around for a week, and glanced at the guys who surrounded them. They were all strong men. Some were very tall, even 2 or 3 meters tall, but this world is normal, even the height is nearly 100. There are giant tribes of rice and small human tribes the size of fingers, as well as merman tribes. There are a lot of weird things that are not uncommon. These dozen thieves obviously regarded themselves and Robin as ordinary people who broke into the island by mistake, but it was a coincidence that the island turned out to be the home of this so-called evil tiger pirate group. Wow, Ronan, did we break into the den of thieves? Not more courageous than Ronan, Robin was taken aback. He immediately grabbed Ronan's sleeves and asked nervously. It's okay, it's just a bunch of little thieves, it's not worth mentioning. Ronan said calmly, not paying attention to these ordinary pirates at all. Hey, little thief. On the opposite side, the 2 to 3 meter tall man who was the leader of more than a dozen pirates touched his bald head and laughed. I didn't expect us to be looked down upon by 2 children today, ha ha ha, brothers, what do you think? Quote. Funny, ha ha ha, I really laughed at me. A man holding a long knife next to him, with a centipede-like scar on his face, smiled terribly and terribly. Robin quickly hid behind Ronan. Dare to look at this person's face. 2 little children, brazenly, they broke into the territory of our evil tiger pirate group and didn't know that they came. Another tall and thin man looked at Ronan gloomily, holding a 1 in his hand. The pistol had been aimed at Ronan's head, ready to shoot the Black Hand at any time. Deputy Captain, do you want to kill them now? A short-looking man looked at Ronan with a cold light in his eyes and asked the giant man at the same time. What do you do? Didn't you listen to what I just said? The giant man glared at the short man and said, "These two little children have thin skin and tender meat. Too much, just taste the meat." Upon hearing this, the pirates looked at the two with a grin, as if looking at food, but Ronan's expression became gloomy. Eat human. These guys are really evil pirates, and they even do things like cannibalism. Looking at their looks, it's obviously not the first time they have done this kind of thing. It's time to kill. Advertisement. Eat, cannibal. Robin obviously thought about it too, and his face was pale in shock immediately, and his whole body was shaking a little, looking at the pirates on the opposite side with extreme horror. Haha, hurry up, tie these two little guys for me. Seeing Robin's face pale in shock, the giant smiled immediately, then waved his hand to signal everyone around him to quickly tie up. Court death. Ronan moved as soon as these people moved. He didn't use Haki to let these people die in a coma. It was too cheap for them. Ronan took out the sunwheel knife and swung his knives directly at the pirates who were surrounding him. Swipe. The light of the knife flashed, and several pirates suddenly flew around with their stumps and arms, and died tragically on the spot. With Ronan's current strength, dealing with these ordinary pirates is really as simple as cutting melons and vegetables, and you don't even need to use Mera-mera Fruit's abilities. Relying solely on swordsmanship, you can kill these scum. It's not an exaggeration to say that it's effortless. The pirates hadn't even had time to make a scream, they were already cut into pieces. How fast Ronan moved, and under the shining light of the sword, these people had no time to react. They were already dead on the spot. The scene suddenly fell silent. The giant man and the others on the opposite side were surprised and full of incredible color. How is it possible? What's going on? It's just two children, actually, killed several of us in an instant. A pirate stammered, shaking all over, as if seeing a ghost. Same. No, it's impossible. What is the origin of these two children? The giant shook his head vigorously, as if he was about to shake himself, thinking he was dreaming. Boom. The pirate with the pistol immediately awoke from the sluggishness, and the first thing he did when he woke up was to shoot Ronan. Brush. Laugh. Ronan didn't even look at him. He just casually waved the sun helix in his hand. With a snort, the bullet was cut open. It flew over Ronan's side and fell to the ground. The cut was smooth and even a little even. Swinging a knife to block the bullet, and even cutting the bullet open, for Ronan now, it was easy. This guy, is simply a devil. Advertisement. The pirate holding the pistol trembled with scared lips, the hand holding the gun trembled, his face twitched, and he looked at Ronan in horror. His shot was blocked by Ronan so casually, and even cut it open. After the bullet, how can he not be surprised, how can he not be afraid? Quick, run, go back and report to the captain, this kid is a devil. The giant man could no longer be arrogant at this moment, his legs trembled, his eyes were blood red, and he turned around with a low growl, he didn't dare to make any more talks. Ronan fought, and didn't even have the courage to face Ronan again. What he thought was how to save his life, how to report back to the captain of the Evil Tiger Pirate Group, and plan to deal with Luo with the large number of the entire Evil Tiger Pirate Group. South. Want to run? Have you asked me? Ronan's cold voice came from behind him, like Shinigami's voice. Pouch. The light of the sword flashed, and the sun-wheel sword had passed through the heart of the strong man, and the huge body of the giant man fell to the ground, his eyes full of unwillingness. Run, run. Go back and report to the captain. Distracted and run. When the others saw that the brawny deputy captain was killed by Ronan with a single move, they were even more horrified. They fled in terror and fled towards the center of the forest. Ronan's eyes were indifferent, and he calmly walked behind the giant man and took back the sunwheel. He didn't care when he watched the pirates escape, but slowly followed Robin with him. Luo, Ronan, are we going to go on? Robin said with a bit of fear. Although Ronan is indeed strong, but in the woods he is the other's nest. Will it be too dangerous to pass by like this? Of course, continue to the past. These scums are actually eating people, so don't blame me for being ruthless. If this evil tiger pirate group is immortal today, I will not leave. Ronan said in a deep voice, his eyes were full of murderousness, he didn't intend to leave at all, but planned to follow these fled pirates to the other party's lair, and directly give the other party to the pot. Good. Upon hearing this, Robin, who was a little scared, was no longer afraid. Ronan was right. If these damn it guys are not solved, I don't know how many people will be killed in the future. How can I say that he also has devil fruits? Although he is only 8 years old, devil fruits abilities are not proficient in use. I was frightened by the incident just now, but now I can't hold back Ronan. I will use the fruit power to help Ronan later. Haunt the enemy. Robin cheered himself up in his heart, and followed Ronan forward with a serious face, followed behind the fleeing pirates, and headed towards the lair of the Evil Tiger Pirate Group. Chapter 13 The Evil Tiger Pirate Group. It's just a chicken dog. The center of the woods is also the center of the island. The terrain is open and there are many village houses. They are not prosperous, but very poor. In the center of the village, there is a relatively tall building. There are many people in the building, but they are not the villagers of the village, but the members of the Evil Tiger Pirate Group that occupy the village. There are 7 or 8 big round tables in the hall. At the top of the big round table, sits a tall man with a black tiger tattoo. Although he is not as tall as the previous giant, he looks more sturdy and cruel. From time to time, there was a glimmer of light in his eyes. On the big round table around, there were other pirates sitting separately, each holding a wine glass, holding a ham roast, eating meat and drinking. Haha, Captain, where are we going to rob next time? A pirate asked after taking a bite of his meat. Yes, Captain, we don't have much food stored here, and the villagers in this village are about to be consumed. By the time no one will do some chores, it is impossible for us to do it ourselves, right? A pirate took a sip and said, next time you have to find a good target to start. I heard that an island in the north is relatively rich, how about we go there to grab a wave? No, I know over there. The island you are talking about is stationed by Marine, or a colonel from the West Blue Marine branch. It's not easy to provoke. What about Colonel Marine? Our evil tiger pirates are still afraid of him. To be afraid is not to be afraid, but it may cause a lot of casualties. Let the captain decide such things. Yes, what do you think of Captain? Everyone looked at the captain of the evil tiger pirate group sitting on the head. The captain of the evil tiger pirate group took a sip of wine, exhaled his alcohol, and said cruelly, although there is a marine colonel on that island, there are also many seamen stationed there. There are as many as hundreds of them. The number of thieves is even larger, but Lousy is just trying to snatch him. We don't have to fight them head on. Then we will find a night and log in directly from the direction farthest from where Marine is stationed, and use the fastest way. Run when you finish grabbing. Hee, how to first see that Marine chasing us. Ha ha ha, the captain has a good idea. Yeah, good idea, but the captain is good, so I thought of such a good way all at once. How about our boss? It must be much smarter than us. All the pirates suddenly flattered, causing the captain of the evil tiger pirate group to let out a triumphant laugh. At this moment, a rush of footsteps came. It's not good, boss, it's not good. Advertisement. The deputy captain was killed, and several brothers were also killed. Boss help. The pirates who had fled rushed into the hall, panting in embarrassment. The captain of the evil tiger pirate group frowned and asked dissatisfiedly, what's the matter with you, didn't you let you be on guard outside? What happened to the deputy captain? He was killed. What are you kidding about? Yeah, what a joke, this is our lair, how could the deputy captain be killed? Someone said in disbelief. Could it be that Marine called here? Someone asked in surprise. Impossible, if Marine calls, the deputy captain will definitely not fight hard, he would have come back long ago. Someone thought for a while and said. That is how the matter. Don't worry, what happened? The captain of the evil tiger pirate group stood up, waved his hand and looked at the few people who had escaped. We found 2 children who had broken into the island. The deputy captain decided to tie them back, but one of the children was too powerful, and the deputy captain was killed with one move. A pirate showed fear, said, he's still not afraid of guns. Another pirate said, some of us shot him, but the bullet was blocked, and we finally escaped back. Humph. Upon hearing this, the captain of the evil tiger pirate group suddenly turned gloomy, and snorted. This kind of thing happened, brothers, all brought me weapons. I want to see what it is. People, dare to come to my lair of the evil tiger pirate group to go wild. Yes, boss. A pirate immediately picked up the weapon long knife beside him, got up viciously, and was about to trouble Ronan. How dare to come to our lair to go wild, I think he is looking for death. The other pirate was also very angry, and a spear in his hand was already raised. Let's go and see together, dare to kill our deputy captain, I really don't want to live. Go, kill him, revenge the deputy captain. A group of pirates were clamoring, and under the leadership of the captain of the evil tiger pirate group, they were about to go out to find Ronan's troubles, but at this moment, a cold voice suddenly came from outside the hall door. Who? All the pirates in the hall were suddenly startled. They turned their heads and looked towards the gate. The captain of the evil tiger pirates screamed. At the same time, black tiger hairs gradually appeared on his body and his forehead. There is also a black king character pattern emerging. Advertisement. Aren't you going to find me to kill me and avenge that deputy captain? Ronan took Robin with one hand, opened the door and walked in leisurely, with a calm complexion. He looked around for a week before turning his gaze on a shirtless brawny man. Obviously, this man was the captain of the evil tiger pirate group. As for why, there are so many people in this hall, this one owns devil fruit, and it is Zone's tiger devil fruit. The fighting power is not weak. Apart from this person, there is no other demon fruit power. In such a pirate group, the only one this is the one who is capable of being a captain. The pirates are the existence of the strong, and they can't be the captain without strength. Boy, did you kill our deputy captain? A pirate stared at Ronan fiercely and asked, and the other pirates also had ferocious eyes that would eat Ronan. It's a pity that Ronan didn't even look at them, just a few little ones, not worth mentioning. Even the captain of the evil tiger pirate group, the owner of devil fruit, was not in Ronan's eyes. It was too simple to deal with these guys, for example. Conquerors. Ronan didn't want to waste too much time with these scum, so he straightforwardly developed Conqueror's Haki. Boom. Under a roar, there was a crackling, and in the entire hall, except for the captain who resisted the shock, all the other pirates, without exception, all fell to the ground in a coma. This Haki. The captain's gaze was dull and shocked. He looked at Ronan with an ugly expression. He trembled all over, not afraid, but resisting Ronan's Conqueror's Haki. He was also uncomfortable, although he didn't fall to the ground immediately. Started, but it's almost there. Ronan's strength is much stronger than him. He didn't fall to the ground because he immediately turned into a tiger and resisted Haki's strength, but he was unable to do other things. Under Haki's suppression, Ronan walked up to him leisurely, swiping the heliostat easily, and his head fell to the ground with a click. The so-called captain of the evil tiger pirate regiment, in front of Ronan, only held one move, and the second move, only a single stroke solved his life. Ronan looked around for a week, his complexion unchanged, and a long knife in his hand swung, one by one ended the lives of these pirates and ended their sinful lives. The so-called evil tiger pirate group is nothing more than a chicken and dog, and can be wiped out with a wave. Ronan smiled all his life, and then pulled Robin with a look of admiration to leave the hall, and then set a fire to burn all the pirates' bodies here. Chapter 14 The Plan of the Beige Family and Marine. Ronan, you are amazing. Robin looked at Ronan with a look of admiration. So many pirates were killed by you in such a simple way. Now they can't continue to do evil in the future. Yes, there are still some villagers in this village who survived. Without these pirates occupying this place, they will be able to survive well in the future. Walking through the village, Ronan saw Ying Yingzuo's figure shaking in some dilapidated houses, and even saw individual children looking through the cracks in the door, looking at them in horror. They were obviously living in fear. It was a look of fear. With the departure of Ronan and the villagers in the house also came out. The number is really small. Most of the survivors are old, weak, sick and disabled. They knelt and wept bitterly when they watched the building that was soaring to the sky. Vent the general crying. Ronan and Robin left along the forest path. This small village has been occupied by the evil tiger and pirates for a long time, and there is no food left. There is no point for them to stay here. It is better to continue sailing as soon as possible. Robin, look at the chart. Where is the nearest larger island? Back on the ship, Ronan controlled the rudder and drove the Julong away from the island, while asking Robin. In the north, it's not too far from here. If we go faster, we will be there tomorrow afternoon at most, but... Robin looked at the chart for a while and talked, but at the end he hesitated. But what? But on that island, the Marine from the West Blue branch is stationed. Robin knew that Ronan was now wanted by the world government. If he rashly encounters Marine, there will definitely be a fight. Oh, upon hearing this, Ronan raised his brows, but he was not afraid. Instead, he asked, how many Marines are there? How many fleets are stationed? There is no fleet, there are only 100 seamen and 2 medium-sized warships. Well, the leader is a branch colonel. Robin paused. That's it. Ronan was stunned, and then a little speechless, thinking that there were dozens of warships, thousands of naval forces, and the headquarters admiral and the like waiting. In the end, just this person. Yeah, these people. Robin nodded and confirmed. Then leave him alone, let's go over there to replenish supplies. Ronan adjusted the sails and followed the wind and ocean currents towards the destination. At this point, Marine was not in his eyes at all, and he didn't even have the slightest idea to deal with them. It was too weak, and he didn't even have the desire to make him want to shoot. At night, Ronan signed in during the day to get the reward. Marine 6 Styles took it out and learned it. It took a few hours to use these skills half-skilled, and it took a maximum of 10 days and a half to spend 6. The skills are all proficient, and can even reach the level of those Marine generals who have studied Marine 6 Styles for many years. Of course, because of the different users, Marine 6 Styles in Ronan's hands is much more powerful than in the hands of others. System, call up my attribute panel. Lying on the deck, while watching the stars, he asked the system to call up his attribute panel. Ronan wanted to see how much his attribute had increased during this period. Advertisement. Host. Ronan. Age. 10 years old. Physique. 71. Strength. 68. Agility. 72. Spirit. 99. Conqueror's Haki. LV7. Flowing Cloud Sword Technique. LV7. Mera-mera Fruit. LV6. Marine 6 Styles. LV2. Therapeutic Medicine. 8 bottles. Psychopharmaceuticals. 8 bottles. Physical Potion. 11 bottles. Longevity Potion. 3 bottles. Sun Wheel Knife. Swift Talisman. Giant Wave Number. The increase in attributes is not that much, but only a few points each, because Ronan himself is strong enough, and he himself didn't even feel the effect of this increase. Marine 6 Style still has a lot of potential to be tapped. After the level is increased, there will be a big improvement in the enhancement of the 4-dimensional attributes. Single quote. Ronan looked at the level of Marine 6 Styles and thought that increasing the level of Marine 6 Styles will greatly enhance physical fitness, agility, strength, etc. It will not increase the spiritual aspect too much, but even so, it is worth his time to go. Practice. Thinking of this, Ronan went to sleep like this. He did not enter the cabin to rest, but stayed on the deck for one night. There were too few people. A little girl Robin wanted to enter the cabin to rest. He had to stay outside and watch a little bit. In order to prevent what happened to Sea Kings, I don't know yet, and I still need to watch the course, but don't get up early in the morning, the boat floats on other routes. The next day, the Julong sailed for another morning, and finally arrived at a larger island in the afternoon. The ship was close to the port and there was no need to hide it. Ronan and Robin disembarked directly to this prosperous port city. Beige Island. This is the name of the island, it seems to be the name of a family that rules the island. Ronan didn't care about the specific family. Anyway, he and Robin would rest in this port city for a day, and then add. With food and water, we will continue sailing in another day. It's not far from the island where Orovia is located. This time we can add more supplies to reach the island directly. And just after Ronan and Robin entered the city, in a tall building in the city, in the office on the top floor. Advertisement. You mean, Ronan, who is worth 1 billion Baileys, came to this city. Sitting on the boss chair was a short, fat man in a black suit. The man was not very old, probably in his early 20s, but he had a cigar thicker than his thumb in his mouth, and his small eyes bloomed in the smoke from time to time. A series of cold light came out. Yes, sitting across from the man was a thin middle-aged man wearing a white Marine general uniform. He said with a gloomy expression, "This Ronan is so bold that he came here alone with a child. Capone, this is a great one. If you seize him, 1 billion Baileys will be in your hands. This is much faster than you can sell all kinds of arms and make money." Yes, the cigar man sitting in the boss chair is no one else. It is Capone Beige, one of the supernova big pirates years later. At this moment, Capone Beige is not as strong as the future. Whether it is personal strength or family power, he has just taken over the family industry. He is still planning how to hold all the underground forces of West Blue in his hands. It's a pity that he now only controls the island that the family has ruled for hundreds of years. He is still 1,000 miles away from the underground power that ruled the entire West Blue. But right now, there is a chance for him to make a fortune. Colonel Beryl, Capone Beige glanced at each other coldly. This Ronan is worth 1 billion Baileys. I am really jealous, but he destroyed the entire Buster Call fleet by himself. Do you think I would be so stupid to provoke him? He knew what the other party was thinking. He wanted to unite his family to deal with Ronan. Otherwise, with the hundreds of Marines stationed on this island and the colonel of his own Marine branch, how could he have the guts to deal with it? Ronan. But he is not a fool. This Beryl obviously wants his Beige family to take the lead. How can he answer the question in such a simple way? It won't work if you don't come up with some tangible benefits. Capone, we have been cooperating very well for so many years. Colonel Beryl smiled suddenly. If your family's property did not have me and the secret permission of the West Blue Marine branch, do you think your family can exist for so long? Can you make money so securely? Are you threatening me? Capone's face suddenly became cold. You said it was cooperation, but you didn't take advantage of it. When I made a lot of money, I didn't give you any benefit. What do you mean by this now? You misunderstood. How could I threaten you? Beryl said sternly. I just want to tell you that this opportunity is not to be missed. The news from the headquarters has arrived. The world government cannot allow Ronan to continue to exist. Marineford has already transferred from New World. This is Admiral, who is planning to lead a team to West Blue to capture Ronan in the near future. If we don't seize the opportunity now, these billion Baileys will not fall into our hands. Upon hearing this, Capone Beige fell silent immediately, and took a sigh of cigar, making the smoke more intense. After thinking about it for a while, Capone Beige looked up, his eyes full of ruthlessness. Okay, this time I'll make a big one, but I want a big head for this billion Baileys. No problem. Beryl laughed immediately. Chapter 15. Surround the hotel. Capture Ronan. The port city of Beige Island, in a luxurious hotel. Ronan, this looks delicious. In the lobby on the second floor of the hotel, at a table, Robin was sitting on his seat holding the menu, watching the delicious food on the menu. Almost all the water came out. Just order the delicious food. Our money is still enough for the time being. Don't save it, Ronan said with a smile. The food and water on the boat have been replenished a lot. Now it's time to enjoy the food. The two are on the boat. It is impossible for this hotel to be so convenient and able to make such a delicious meal. When sailing on the sea, you can only simply cook something to eat. Where can there be such a richness now? Well, there is this, and I want to eat too. Hearing Ronan's words, Robin was not polite, and immediately ordered a lot of delicious food, and then gave the menu to the waiter, and he waited impatiently. Ronan, you said, after we find our mother, shall we go back to Ohara? Robin is a little fond of the days of playing around, and for her now, she has never experienced the tragedy in the original book. It's about playing outside freely. With Ronan, you don't have to worry about safety at all. You can eat some delicious food everywhere. It's not too cool, it's much more comfortable than staying alone in Ohara. Well, Ronan thought for a while and told Robin the original idea. Robin, my idea is to take you and Aunt Orovia to sea together to pursue the truth of the text of history. Aunt Orovia's dream is history. The truth of the text, and I also want to play around. I also have some ideas about One Piece's treasure. In fact, it wasn't because of any treasures. Ronan's idea was to play around, the main purpose was to sign in other places and get rewards. This was his real goal. And helping Orovia to find the truth of the historical text is just a matter of hand. The historical text. Upon hearing this, Robin immediately became elated. I also want to know the truth of the historical text, what happened in the blank 100 years of history. This is the dream of all our archaeologists. Ronan smiled slightly and almost forgot. Robin himself is also an archaeologist. After he grows up, his knowledge of archaeology is not lower than that of Orovia, or even higher, but now he is still small, not as good as Orovia. Waiting for the master of archaeology, but not far behind. Advertisement. Since you have no objection, then we shall persuade Aunt Orovia together then. Ronan said. Well, rap it on me, I can definitely convince my mother. Robin patted her chest and said. She is very looking forward to being able to pursue the text of history with her mother in the future. How boring to stay on Ohara Island. She has basically completed most of the subject knowledge of archaeology. For her, it is no longer necessary to continue studying, and the rest is practice. Now that she had such an opportunity before her, she didn't want to give up. Then leave it to you. As Ronan spoke, he took the dinner plate brought by the waiter. The delicious dishes were already on the table, and the two of them no longer thought of other things, and immediately started to move. It has to be said that the food in Pirate World is indeed very delicious. The chef of this hotel is also top level. The food made by them almost swallowed their tongues. Well, it's delicious, it's great, much better than what we ate on the boat. Robin muttered as he ate. That's for sure. Ronan also nibbled a piece of chicken leg and drank delicious juice. What you eat on the boat are coarse grains that are easy to store, and some sea fish, and the ingredients are not complete. Let's talk about it. Our two cooking skills are not good, how can we compare with other professional chefs? Oh, then when we go to sea, don't we have to be hungry on the boat? We can't eat these delicacies. Robin frowned while eating the delicacies. Don't worry. Ronan thought for a while and said, we can find a professional chef to be our partner in the future, won't we be able to eat delicious food at Tenton? Wow, Ronan, you are so smart, why didn't I think of this? It was such a happy decision. Ronan, you can find a great chef to be our partner. Robin said with a smile. Even if I can't find it, Aunt Orovia will be here in the future, and the food made is much better than the two of us. Ronan said with a smile. My mother's food is really good, it's much better than us, but there is still a gap compared with the chef in this hotel. I think it's better to find a professional chef. Robin thought I thought about it. Advertisement. Yes, I can't make Aunt Orovia tired, so leave it to me. I will definitely find a great chef. While the two were enjoying the delicious food, a large group of people haladed downstairs from the hotel. When this group of people came, the whole hall on the first floor was quiet, and the complexion of the people changed drastically, and then they hurriedly left, not daring to complain. HMPH, even if these guys are acquainted, it saves us from clearing the scene. The two leading the group are not others, they are Capone Bej and Colonel Verrill. The group behind them is divided into two parts, which are distinct. Some are from Verrill's subordinates, hundreds of seamen with guns, and more than 100 strong men in black suits, standing behind them with guns and knives in their hands. It is Capone Bej's subordinates. The underground forces fighters raised by the Bej family, looked extremely fierce. Where is Ronan? Verrill looked at the hotel and asked. According to reports from my subordinates, dining on the second floor. Capone Bej said with a cold face, and his eyes floated to the second floor of the hotel. Enclose the hotel for me. Hearing this, Verrill immediately issued an order to the Marines, and 20 or 30 Marines immediately surrounded the hotel with guns to prevent Ronan from escaping. Others, go up to the second floor with us, and be sure to catch this Ronan. Capone Bej waved his hand and rushed directly to the second floor with someone. Let's go up too. Looking at Capone Bej's back, Verrill immediately followed with the remaining Marines. He felt that Ronan was strong, and Capone Bej might not be able to do it alone. If he and Capone Bej joined forces, there would still be some with confidence that Ronan was taken down, coupled with the presence of nearly 200 men, this battle was foolproof. In the lobby on the second floor, Ronan took a sip of juice, slowly lowered the cup, raised his brows, and a cold smile at the corners of his mouth. Where are the reptiles, dare to disturb our meal? Chapter 16 Mera-mera Fruit. Burn the sky and destroy the earth. Who? Robin was taken aback. She hadn't noticed that the first floor of the hotel had been cleared, and a faint sound of footsteps had already surrounded the second floor. Ronan has already discovered that although there are a lot of guests dining on the second floor and a bit noisy, his spirit is now close to 100 points. Even without observation Haki, he can probably perceive everything that is happening around him, and he is also a top-notch. It's too shameful to be a strong one, if someone touched him and couldn't find it. Nothing. Ronan shook his head. It's just a few small bugs. Anyway, we have finished eating. Prepare a bit and leave later. It seems that we can't spend the night on this island tonight. After dealing with these small bugs, we will take the boat. Leave, the same goes for the night on the boat. Oh, okay. With that said, Robin also felt something was wrong, because a large group of people had already stepped up the stairs to the second floor and were driving away other dining guests. When the guests saw this scene, they dared to speak wherever they were. They all bowed their heads and were driven away. Even if the guests hadn't paid yet, the hotel staff looked anxious and did not dare to speak. They understood better than anyone else. Come here now. What is the origin of this group of people? This is the Bej family and Marine who is stationed on the island. They dare to obstruct it and really don't want to get mixed up on this island. In desperation, the hotel staff had no choice but to be dumb and didn't dare to come over from a distance. There are so many people here, if they fight, they will suffer from the fish, but there is no place to reason. Wow. A group of men in black suits and seamen, all armed with weapons, filled the lobby of the entire hotel on the second floor, and surrounded Ronan and Robin. The needles could not be inserted, the water could not be splashed, and a mosquito. Don't even want to run out. Robin was a little scared, stood up and walked to Ronan's side, looking at the group of people nervously. Ronan remained calm and calmly drank the last sip of the juice, then stood up and looked up at the group of people. You guys, are you courageous? Ronan said calmly, gentle breeze and drizzle, calm and elegant, and he didn't pay attention to this group of fierce-looking guys at all. Patter. 2 heavy footsteps approached. Are we courageous? Capone Bej and Verrill approached. They looked at Ronan and Robin indifferently, and said in a deep voice, Ronan, I think you are brave. Advertisement. You, who are you? Why are you surrounding us and what do you want to do? Robin asked nervously. At the same time, he had a good idea in his heart. When he could fight, he would use Flower Fruit's ability to help Ronan. At least he couldn't let Ronan be besieged by so many people. The last time she was on the island of the evil tiger pirate group, she planned to help, but the pirates were too weak, they weren't Ronan's enemy at all, so she didn't even have a chance to shoot. Now, there are so many people here, and there are two obviously very powerful people. I think I must have the opportunity to help myself this time. Ha ha. Capone Beige sneered, glanced at Robin, and did not put the little girl in his eyes. In his eyes, only Ronan, who once destroyed the Buster Call fleet by himself, existed, even as a 10-year-old boy. He was also very cautious. This time he brought so many people here instead of coming alone because of this. He and Beryl are both demon fruit power. The two of them worked together to deal with Ronan alone. The grasp was not small, and they brought so many people, so he felt foolproof. Who are we? What do you want to do? Capone Beige sneered and said. I am the current patriarch of the Beige family and the current master of this island, the future king of underground forces in the entire West Blue. We are here, of course, for you, or in other words, for Ronan. The 1 billion Bailey bounty on his body, if you know it, you can kneel down and beg for mercy, and you can suffer less, otherwise, if you really want to fight, the weapons in the hands of so many of us don't recognize people. Hey, Beryl smiled sullenly. The reward offered by the world government doesn't have to be alive, Ronan, if you are smart enough, you can surrender now. Otherwise, we can still receive the reward if we hold your corpse. Quote. Ronan. Robin glanced at Ronan nervously. Indeed, now that the other party is here with so many people, can the two of them deal with it? Don't deal with the two leaders of the other party at a glance. Do not be afraid. Ronan gave Robin a relieved look, then turned his head to look at Capone Beige and Beryl, pointed his finger at the nearly 200 people in the surrounding hall, and said lightly, you think these ants-like guys, is there a threat to me? HMPH, there are so many of us, everyone has guns and swords, one person can knock you into holes. Capone Beige said coldly. Besides, there are also me and Beryl here, and my two forces are enough to take you down. It is difficult to fly today. Give up resistance, Ronan, you can't escape today anyway. Valor said triumphantly. I also sent people to surround the hotel, and even your ship in the port was controlled by us. You really can't escape, so resist it to the end. It is better to surrender as soon as possible. Just the two of you. Ronan sighed, shook his head and said, it's not even enough to stuff me between my teeth. Who gave you the courage to make you feel that your strength is enough to take me down? A joke, let you see something today. It's the real power. Oh, do you really dare to resist? Advertisement. Capone Beige and Beryl glanced at each other. They were a little surprised. Surrounded by so many people on their side, he still had the courage to resist. Ronan really didn't know how to write death words. The two smiled sullenly, then waved their hands violently, and directly asked their subordinates to go up and try Ronan's level first. If it doesn't work, they can solve each other without even having to do it by themselves. That would be too easy and easy. It is really refreshing to get 1 billion Baileys. Receiving the leader's signal, the two men's men, whether they were the men in black suits or those sea soldiers, all geared up to attack Ronan immediately. However, conquerors. With a cold drink, a magnificent momentum was crushed down. Needless to say, there were no surprises. No matter it was the black suit or the seaman, no one had a chance to shoot, and he didn't even fire a shot. It fell a lot, and fell to the ground without knowing his life or death. Suddenly, the smiles on Beryl and Capone Beige's faces froze. Even under the suppression of Conqueror's Haki, both of them are fighting against this terrifying pressure. Bah, Conqueror's Haki. Damn it, it turned out to be Haki. Beryl, you hurt me. Capone Beige glared at Beryl. Beryl's complexion is also extremely ugly, his body has changed. It is his devil fruit ability. In order to resist Ronan's Conqueror's Haki, he must use all his strength. As for Capone Beige, he has already mobilized his devil fruit ability. His ability comes from an ability called Jonchung fruit. It can store various weapons in the body, and even a small castle can be stored in the body. At this moment, he can resist Haki's fall. It's not difficult, at least it's much simpler than Beryl. Oh, can you resist my Haki? But that's all. Ronan watched the two struggle against Haki's suppression, and stopped talking nonsense. He should settle the two people quickly and leave the island. It's boring, really boring, these guys don't even have the ability to make him move. Mera-mera Fruit. Burn the sky and destroy the earth. Boom. A hot flame soared into the sky, sweeping the audience with a terrifying high temperature that burned everything. Chapter 17 The Prestigious West Blue. Scared off a bunch of people. Mera-mera Fruit's ability level, Ronan has reached the 6th level, although it is not high, but for the current Capone Beige and Beryl, it is enough to deal with them. The two were struggling to cope with Ronan Conqueror's Haki's suppression, this terrifying flame tilted down, and their ending was immediately doomed. Do not. The two only had time to roar, but they could only watch the flame fall, and even Capone Beige's fortified city fruit could not resist, let alone Beryl's zone fruit ability. The two of them were melted by the flame abruptly, and they were instantly cold. And the nearly 200 people who were stunned by Conquerors, let alone died, also died under the flames, and the entire second floor hall was instantly empty. Get the job done. Ronan clapped his hands, glanced lightly at the second floor burned by the flames, and left with Robin directly. Robin was a little confused. She was just about to help out. As a result, she didn't get a chance to get her hands. She was helpless and could only say that the enemy was too bad, and she couldn't hold on to Ronan and turned into ashes. NS. Outside the hotel, the seamen who were in charge of surrounding the hotel were also a little confused. Why did their boss get completely cold not long after they got up? Seeing the two Ronan who walked out of the hotel, they trembled with fear, one by one did not dare to take their heads. All ran away. No way. Nearly 200 people and 2 demon fruit power can't keep each other. How can they do this? They can only run for their lives. They couldn't stop the 2 of Ronan who left, they had to report the matter to the West Blue branch. At the same time, what happened on Bej Island spread throughout West Blue, and even spread across the world. Ronan's name once again shook many people. West Blue branch, when he got the news, the branch commander was dumbfounded on the spot, and then scolded Varel for trash. Valel, B************D, who does he think he is? That Ronan once could destroy the Buster Call fleet by himself. Does he think he can deal with it alone? Advertisement. Commander, Varel must have coveted Ronan's billion Pele bounty, but unfortunately, he miscalculated Ronan's strength and paid a heavy price. One of his staff, Rear Admiral, said in a deep voice, the lesson learned, we can't underestimate Ronan. From the intelligence point of view, Ronan has at least one Logia devil fruit, which is still a powerful flame system. We must not underestimate it. What? Good. The commander of the West Blue branch is a vice admiral from the headquarters. At this moment, his brows are furrowed and his face is extremely solemn. We can't follow in the footsteps of Varel and Grace. We must not underestimate Ronan. This fellow, far away. It's more powerful than we thought. Then, the arrest order issued by the headquarter, Rear Admiral said hesitantly. Stop now. The commander waved a big hand and said with a serious face, we can no longer risk the lives of the Marine lads. Wait for Admiral sent by the headquarters to come, and then act together. Understood. I'll give an order in a while to stop the fleet that is going to capture Ronan. Rear Admiral heaved a sigh of relief and nodded in response. The news of the West Blue branch's cessation of operations against Ronan was spread, and the bounty hunters who came to West Blue immediately felt pressure. They did not expect that the Marine of the West Blue branch was so frightened by Ronan. At the same time, a large number of bounty hunters also postponed the hunt for Ronan, and instead seized the time to gather information about Ronan. The news that Ronan owns Logia devil fruit also reached the ears of these interested people, and there was even information about Robin flower fruit. Most people were frightened by Ronan and did not dare to act rashly. Only a small group of bounty hunters who did not believe in evil were still ready to deal with Ronan. After all, the temptation of a billion Baileys was too great. On the giant wave, Ronan didn't know that the whole West Blue was in turmoil because of him. Maybe he didn't care if he knew it. Anyway, he is still sailing with Robin towards the destination. Ronan, we are almost there. On the deck, beside Ronan, Robin excitedly pointed at a nearby island with a chart in his hand. Advertisement. Really? How long will it take? Ronan asked with a smile. It has been a day and a half since leaving Bej Island. He thought it would take several days to find Orovia, but he didn't expect that it was almost there now. Also because these two Tenton are in good air, and they are still downwind. Under the swelling sails, the boat is fast, and now it is almost reaching the island where Orovia is located. At most, we will be there tomorrow. Tonight we have to work hard. As long as we don't deviate from the course at night, it will be troublesome. Robin said sternly, we don't have professional sailors. If we deviate from the course, think it is still very troublesome to figure out where you are. Well, leave it to me tonight. Ronan said helplessly. It is not good if there is no navigator. For those ships with navigators, they can quickly adjust even if they deviate from the course. For the course, there is no navigator on the Julong, which is very disadvantaged. This makes Ronan a little bit want to find a suitable navigator partner quickly. Come on, we can see Mom tomorrow. Robin said with a small fist happily, looking very excited. Well, I hope Aunt Orovia and the others are safe. Ronan said softly, but he knew that this time Orovia left, and encountered some trouble in the original plot. Except Orovia himself, all other archaeologists died, and this time because of Ronan's the reason was that Orovia was given some potions, which might save several archaeologists, but he did not have much confidence. Everything depends on tomorrow. One night passed, and early the next morning, the weather was a bit gloomy, not as good as the sunny weather yesterday. Today's sky is covered with dark clouds, and it seems that there will be a heavy rain coming soon. Ronan, it looks like it's going to rain like this. Robin put his hand on his forehead, looked at the sky, and said with some worry, the wind direction has been messed up, I don't know the direction anymore. The previous course was correct, right? Ronan asked with a frown. That's right, but when the storm comes, it will definitely affect the ship's course. I'm afraid that I won't be able to reach the island where my mother is this morning. Robin also frowned. It's okay, we'll sail towards the destination without much deviation. Ronan said, already turning the rudder and heading directly towards the island where Orovia is located. At this moment, Orovia encountered an extreme crisis. Chapter 18 Orovia being hunted down. Inside a ruin on the island where Orovia is located. Orovia, you go quickly, you must escape. An old man covered in bloodline pushed Orovia away, coughing blood in his mouth. No, I still have a bottle of medicine Ronan gave me here, you drink it quickly. Orovia looked anxious, holding a bottle of medicine to give the old man a drink. The old man pushed Orovia's hand away, coughed a few times again, and then said with difficulty, keep this last bottle of medicine for yourself, listen to me, and go quickly. You can't save us. I didn't see it before. The old Iwan, even though he was rescued by the medicine from a serious injury, the seaman still shattered his head with a single shot. We are old and unable to run. Now it is a drag. You are still young and must not die. It's here. Those damn it seamen, in order to prevent us from exploring the text of history, they killed people directly. Orovia gritted her teeth. She never thought that in order to prevent herself from waiting for archaeologists to explore the text of history, the world government would directly send marine soldiers to kill people. It was really too cruel. She still doesn't know that after she left Ohara, the world government even dispatched the Buster Call fleet to destroy the entire island of Ohara directly. This time, there were dozens of people in her line, and now there are only 2 dead. Right now, the old man is unwilling to be her burden, and refuses to take the healing potion. It seems that he will not last long. There are more than a dozen seamen chasing after him. Everyone has guns in their hands, which is simply not something a scholar like her can deal with. Orovia is just a pure scholar and does not have the ability of devil fruit. The others are the same. They are not opponents of ordinary marines at all and can only escape. Unfortunately, they are still being chased by the marines on the way to escape. Kill. Even this time the news of the ruins leaked out, the marines just lay in ambush in the ruins, and when they arrived, they killed them, killing them by surprise. Cough cough cough. Let's go Orovia. Let everyone be careful after returning. Ohara may be unsafe. The world government will not let go so easily. It will definitely start with other archaeologists. It is better to let everyone spread out escape. It's best if you can escape from West Blue. It's really impossible. You can also escape to New World, where the big pirates can fight against the forces of Marine. The old man said with difficulty, still pushing Orovia in his hands, urging her to leave, but Orovia didn't want to leave. With so many people, now there are only 2 people left with her and the old man, even if she is lost. The enemy flees, but she is a weak woman, can she really escape safely from the chasing of the seamen? She is a little unconfident. Quick, just ahead, keep up. Advertisement. At this moment, a voice came from behind, causing the 2 of them to change their expressions. Come on, or away. The old man hadn't finished saying these words. He only heard a bang, his heart exploded with blood, and a bullet had penetrated his body. Quick. Go. Orovia's eyes widened, watching the old man's body in front of him fall softly to the ground, and he was dull for a moment, then a jealous spirit turned his head and fled away, with crystal clear tears falling on the ground. A team of marines chased over, looked at the dead old man who fell to the ground, and probed the pulse of the old man. After confirming his death, he glanced at each other and said, it's dead, but looking at the footprints on the ground, there is still left. The last one is not resolved. Hurry up and follow the footsteps. The above commands are all killed. If you run away one of them, it will not be considered as a completion of the task. A leading seaman took the lead and chased Orovia, and the other seamen followed without a word. It is not difficult for them to deal with some ordinary people. The old people in Orovia's team were killed one by one during their pursuit. Now there is only one young woman left, but compared to these strong men. For a woman who wants to escape from their chase and kill, it is as difficult as reaching the sky. After escaping from the ruins, Orovia rushed into the desert, struggling to travel far away without knowing the direction, as long as he could escape from the guns of the marines. Fortunately, today's weather is very bad, and under the squally wind, sandstorms blew up across the desert. Although not big, it was enough to block the sight of the pursuers. And when Orovia was hunted down, Ronan and Robin finally came to this island. Finally arrived at the destination. Robin sighed. The weather today was very bad, and the Julienne was blown away from the direction by the storm. Fortunately, they were already very close to the island. Under the storm, they could barely see the islands on the sea level. The black spot, even if it deviated from the direction, eventually reached the destination. This island seems to be a deserted island, not big. After getting ashore, Ronan took a look at the island environment. This island is a bit larger than the previous island where the evil tiger pirate group was located, but it is much smaller than Bej Island, and the environment is harsh, mostly deserts. So far, he has not found any traces of inhabitants on the island. This is indeed a deserted island. In the past, apart from the pirates passing by, basically no people settled there, but it must have been people hundreds of years ago. At that time, the environment on this island was still very good, but now it has become a place full of deserts. Robin shook his head and said, I don't know what happened that caused this once beautiful island to become a desert. Advertisement. Maybe it was caused by the battle. Ronan thought for a while and said, can battle turn such a big island into a desert? Robin's eyes widened, and said in an incredible way. Okay. Ronan smiled at the corner of his mouth. For example, if I do my best, it will be enough to turn such a large island into a flame hell. Wow, Ronan, you are too powerful and powerful, right? Although Robin knew that Ronan was very strong, she still didn't have a yardstick in her heart. Now that Ronan said that, she immediately understood that Ronan was stronger than she had imagined. With all her strength, it was enough to make such a big one. What a terrifying power! The island turned into a flame hell. Okay, let's not waste too much time. Hurry up and find Aunt Orovia. I don't know how Aunt Orovia is now. Ronan didn't say much about his strength, and there was no need to brag about himself in front of Robin. Okay, let's go find Mom quickly. The location of the ruins is that direction. After looking at the map for a while, Robin pointed in a direction and said, okay, come on, let me carry you on my back, so it's faster. Ronan squatted down in front of Robin. Hee, good. Robin smiled and jumped onto Ronan's back. Chapter 19 Sign in. Reward. Ancient Weapon Pluton Drawing. Ronan carried Robin on his back and walked quickly in the desert. With his current physique, Robin's small body at only 8 years old is too easy for him. He doesn't feel tired even with his back on his body. Fast. Is the location right? Ronan asked as he ran. Well, it should be right. Robin was lying on Ronan's back, looking at the map and thinking, then he looked up at the surrounding sand and dust, and said hesitantly, the surrounding sand and dust is too big, I can't see the distant view clearly. There is no comparison, so. I am not sure that this direction is right. According to the previous direction, it is correct. Robin added. I just don't know if the direction has changed much since we entered the island desert. Then it's okay. Ronan said confidently. I am running all the way, and the overall direction should not be too different. Even if there is the influence of sand and dust, we can accurately find the ruins. After all, judging from the map, the ruins are not small. Yes, that ruin covers a lot of space. Once you get to the place, you can find a direction even if there is a deviation. Robin nodded. Then you can sit firmly, I will speed up. Ronan smiled and nodded, and then began to accelerate violently, even faster than before. He wanted to get to the ruin earlier, because his check-in opportunity today was reserved for that ruin, not sign in immediately after arriving at the island. He has probably figured out the details of the sign-in system. Except for the unexpected sign-in on the desert island where the evil tiger pirate group is located, the sign-in rewards in other places are determined based on the sign-in location. Once it is famous, yes, in places with historical heritage, the rewards that can be obtained after signing in are even higher. I can't say 100%, but Ronan is 70% sure that his guess should be correct. When I was on Bej Island, the island seemed prosperous, but it had no historical background and was not well known. Therefore, only a bottle of longevity potion was obtained after signing in. Although the longevity potion can increase the lifespan of 100 years, it is true for ordinary people. It was a very, very rare thing, but it was not precious to Ronan. And now, an ancient ruin that came to 800 years ago, coupled with the glorious heritage that the island once had, if you sign in at this ruin, there is a very high possibility that you can get a good reward. This made Ronan look forward to it, and the speed under his feet was even faster. About half an hour passed, and Ronan's speed skyrocketed even after using the speedy travel talisman. After half an hour, they finally came to a ruin with only a broken earth wall. Wow, here it is. Robin cheered, jumped off Ronan's back, looked at the ruins and said happily, Ronan, we are finally here. Mom must be in the ruins, shall we go in and find her? Good. Ronan also breathed a sigh of relief, and then looked at the huge ruin with a smile. Let's go in, you stay close to me and don't run around to prevent any danger in this ruin. I know Ronan, don't underestimate me. Robin raised his head on his hips and said, I am also an archaeologist, and my knowledge of such ancient ruins is far better than you. That's just the knowledge you learned from the books. Ronan shook his head. The dangers encountered in actual situations may be difficult for you to solve. We should be careful about subtleties. Ronan himself is not afraid of any danger, even in ancient times, with his current strength, he is not afraid of any danger, let alone a ruin that has been lost for more than 800 years. Advertisement. But Robin is different. He doesn't want Robin to encounter any danger and get injured, so it's better to be careful. The two entered directly from the south gate of the ruins, and saw some dense footprints along the way. These are the footprints of mothers and theirs. They have already entered the interior of the ruins. Ronan, let's hurry up. Ha ha ha, I want to give Mom a big surprise. Looking at the footprints on the ground, Robin laughed and greeted Ronan to hurry up. Good. Ronan followed helplessly. He was calling the system in his mind just now. Hearing Robin's words at the moment, he quickly followed up, but don't let this girl go to some dangerous places rashly. System, let's start today's check-in at this ruin. Ronan said to the check-in system in his mind. Ding. Sign in successfully. Congratulations to host, you have successfully signed in today and received a reward, an ancient weapon Pluton construction drawing. The system replied, and at the same time, dozens of complicated drawings appeared in the system space. Ronan was shocked, and then looked at the drawing with some surprises. Ancient weapon Pluton's drawings, dear, this is a very precious thing. Ronan laughed in his heart. Sure enough, his guess was not wrong. The rewards of signing in such a profound place are definitely far better than signing dozens of times in ordinary places. It is much better. Ancient weapon Pluton, this is one of the 3 ancient weapons. Think about Poseidon. Each generation of Poseidon is the mermaid princess of the mermaid clan, and the mermaid princess can summon and control all the sea kings in the sea. These are all sea kings. Sea kings are very scary and powerful in this world. If all the sea kings are united, let alone Ronan is not an opponent to stand aside, even the so-called 4 emperors Shichibukai, even Marine Admiral, and all Marines, what's more, world government is not an opponent. This is a magnificent force that can upset the world. Thousands of terrifying sea kings, who are hundreds of meters in size, can really overturn the entire world. Pluton is the strongest weapon that ancient humans in this world can build. Pluton is the name of a ship. With Pluton's drawings, countless such powerful ships can be built. It is said that the main artillery of this type of ship is very powerful, and a small island can be sunk by one shot. If 180 ships are assembled, anyone who controls these ships is enough to push the entire world. When it comes to the three ancient weapons, Poseidon and Pluton are so terrifying, not to mention Uranus, the head of the legendary three ancient weapons. Advertisement. However, even in the original work, Ronan didn't see what Uranus was like. It has always existed in legends. However, according to legend, Uranus is in the hands of the celestial dragons, who is in control of the world government and celestial dragons. The leader of 5 elders is 5 elders, and 5 elders has a behind-the-scenes messenger hidden in the dark. This person is Ym. Ronan was very suspicious that Uranus was in Ym's hands. One day I'm going to meet this Ym, but not now. Uranus is too mysterious, I have to accumulate some more power. Single quote. Ronan thought to himself, and then looked at the Pluton drawing and thought about what he would do with this drawing to maximize its benefits. I never thought about fighting for hegemony before, but now that I have this blueprint, I can think about it, but it's too much trouble to rule the world. Find a chance and see if you can. The object of cooperation. But it is necessary to choose carefully. Is the Doragon kind, Amazon lily? It is a goal. As long as the future female emperor is taken, the Amazon lily can be in my hands. Little humans. Giants. You can also consider. Alabasta. I don't know if Princess Vivi is born, it should be a few years away. No hurry, no hurry. Thinking of this, Ronan was not in a hurry, he had a lot of time, and he was not in a hurry at all. System, call up my attribute panel. Ronan said, letting the system call up its own attribute panel. Host. Ronan. Age. 10 years old. Physique. 73. Strength. 69. Agility. 74. Spirit. 99. Conqueror's Haki. LV7. Flowing Cloud Sword Technique. LV7. Mera-mera Fruit. LV7. Marine 6 Styles. LV4. Therapeutic Medicine. 8 bottles. Psychopharmaceuticals. 8 bottles. Physical Potion. 11 bottles. Longevity Potion. 4 bottles. Sunwheel Knife. Quick Travel Talisman. Giant Wave. Pluton Drawings. Chapter 20. Ronan is furious. Kill the chasers. Ronan, come on. While Ronan was checking his attributes and items, he suddenly heard a scream from Robin in front of him. His voice was full of panic and fear. What's wrong? Ronan looked straight and stepped on his feet quickly. He rushed out in an instant. He arrived at a distance of tens of meters, but he saw Robin squatting on the ground, looking at a corpse on the ground with tears in his eyes. This is. Ronan's expression suddenly became gloomy. If he was not mistaken, this old man on the ground who had been dead for a long time was one of the archaeologists who came to this site with Orovia. He did not expect to die here. Ronan, Grandpa Farrell is dead, you say, do you think your mother will? Robin's tears have slipped down, and his pupils are filled with an expression of pain that cannot escape. No, Robin, Ronan said in a deep voice, and knelt down to check the corpse of the old man named Farrar. The corpse was still intact, only a blood hole in the abdomen. Ronan slapped his hand, and a round bullet jumped out of the hole in flesh and blood. This is the bullet for the Marine Soldier Standard Musket. He squeezed the bullet. His complexion looked ugly, although he knew that Orovia would encounter a crisis this time, but before Orovia left, he gave the other party some life-saving potions. In the original plot, Orovia, who was able to escape from birth alone, with the help of his reminder and the help of medicine, it shouldn't be too dangerous, and other people are likely to be safe. Unexpectedly, this scene still surprised him. Is it because I destroyed the Buster Call fleet and made Marines send more troops in the pursuit of Orovia? Ronan felt a little self-blame in his heart. He had known such a thing. He had said that he would prevent Orovia from leaving, but it was too late to blame himself. The most important thing now is to find Orovia. Before seeing Orovia's body, he absolutely did not believe that the opponent had been killed. Judging from the stiffness of the corpse, the time of death will not exceed 1 day. Ronan stood up and pulled Robin around and looked around. Robin, let's go. Aunt Orovia and the others should have encountered the enemy here. Look at the bloodline on the ground. Going east, we are chasing now. In the past, it should have been too late. I hope it's time, Ronan secretly said in his heart, and his eyes revealed a cruel color. Once Aunt Orovia has a shortcoming, I will kill Marineford, Mariajoy. Advertisement. Okay, let's go find Mom now. Robin wiped the corners of his eyes quickly, and then swiftly headed towards the east with Ronan. Along the way, they saw several corpses again, all of which were Ohara's respected archaeologists. These old people died in this ruin one by one. They died at the hands of Marine soldiers, just because the world government wanted to protect them. The truth in the historical text 100 years ago. Is the truth so important? What's the secret? Why did celestial dragons care so much? Ronan and the two moved very fast, and within a while they had walked out of the remains from the east exit, and what they saw was the endless desert. Auntie Orovia should have entered this desert, using sand and dust to avoid the pursuit of Marine soldiers. Ronan directly picked up Robin this time, stepped on his legs, and rushed into the desert quickly. 2 hours later, according to the faint traces left by the sandy trip, he finally caught up with the seaman who was chasing Orovia. This is a team of more than a dozen seamen armed with muskets. Although the number is small, it is a fatal crisis that is difficult to resist for the unarmed Orovia and other archaeologists. Ronan, look, these people must have killed Grandpa Farrell and them. Robin, who was in Ronan's arms, also saw the group of Marines, and immediately screamed. Who? The Marines who were searching for Orovia in the front suddenly heard this sound, and immediately turned their guns, and looked at the two Ronan in the rear. When they saw that they were only two children, they immediately let go of their hearts. But, the sergeant headed by the seaman changed his face. He was different from other ordinary seamen. He knew Ronan. In other words, after Ronan had destroyed the Buster Call fleet before, he had already been on the phone when he contacted the West Blue Branch. The insects learned about Ronan. And in front of him, the 10-year-old boy among the two children of the boy and the girl, isn't the appearance of the Ronan mentioned by the West Blue Branch. Luo, Ronan, are you Ronan? The leading Marine sergeant looked at Ronan in amazement, trembling all over, and didn't know how to deal with the sudden situation in front of him. Advertisement. Captain, what's wrong with you? The Marines next to him were a little strange. They didn't know Ronan's information. They only felt that it was strange that the two children in front of them appeared in this desert. Other than that, they didn't feel anything. They were just two children. They were more than 10. Would a seaman with a musket be afraid? What a joke. Ronan here was relieved. Looking at the appearance of the seaman, he was obviously still searching for the target. If the mission is completed, he will definitely withdraw. Since the search is still continuing, it means that the mission has not been completed. The archaeological team of Orovia has not been resolved yet. Aunt Orovia is still alive, Robin. Ronan gently put Robin down and said. Really, Ronan, Mom is okay. That's great. Upon hearing this, Robin was also greatly relieved. She was really worried about her mother's safety along the way, and now listening to Ronan's words, she immediately relieved her heart. Although I haven't seen Orovia yet, since Ronan said so, there must be a reason, just trust Ronan. Boy, who are you and how did you get here? Without hearing the captain's order, a seaman was already irritated by Ronan's self-care and self-talk, and immediately pointed his gun at Ronan and asked. U.S. Ronan looked at these seamen coldly, and said indifferently, we are the ones who killed you. Go and die. Do not. The captain of the seamen gave a feeble and miserable cry, but he couldn't change everything that was about to happen. A blood-red flame soared into the sky, like a bursting sandstorm, sweeping everything around, engulfing more than a dozen heavily armed Marines, annihilating and burning them all. Under the flames, these seamen were naturally killed easily by Ronan without any accident, without exception. Solved. Robin, Aunt Orovia should be right in front, let's go find her now. Good. Chapter 21 Convergence. Fleet on the side of the island. The desert is about 2 kilometers away from the front of Ronan's killing chaser. Orovia panted violently, and she ran all the way to this point. Her strength was severely exhausted, and she almost fell to the ground unable to move. Looking back, she was still filled with dust. Seeing that the footprints she left behind showed signs of being gradually concealed, she felt a little relieved. But after thinking about it, I still couldn't let go of it, and I had to continue to run for my life. These people are really damn it. Orovia clenched her silver teeth, but was helpless. The forces behind these chasing soldiers were too great. Naval headquarters, world government, celestial dragons, these were not something she could provoke. Couldn't it be impossible to pursue the truth of history in the future? Thinking about it, even if he could escape his birth, he would probably continue to be hunted down. It would be even more difficult to pursue the text of history. I don't know, how are Robin and Ronan now? Hope it's okay. Orovia felt uneasy and worried. Since the world government sent someone to chase and kill her party, it is very likely that she would also take action against Ohara. She is not a child, but a smart adult who killed her party from the other party. Almost everyone, the only one who escaped, but still reluctant to hunt down, can see that the other party is going to kill them all. Since it is a rush to kill, then how can the archaeologists of Ohara be spared? The other party's purpose is to prevent all archaeologists from digging out the historical text, and it will definitely do it to all archaeologists. Thinking of this, Orovia rallied and forced herself to continue on the road. She held the last bottle of healing potion in her hand. Although it was not a physical potion, it could save her life at the last minute, but it was not the time to use it now. However, Orovia didn't go far. When she heard a brisk footstep behind her, her expression suddenly changed. No, they are coming. Mom, it's us, it's me and Ronan. Just when Orovia was desperate, she suddenly heard a familiar voice. Robin, what? Why are you? Orovia turned around, staring wide-eyed and watched Ronan quickly approaching with Robin on his back, with an unbelievable expression on his face. In any case, she could not think that she would meet Robin and Ronan here. How could they be here? This is unreasonable. Advertisement. Robin, Ronan, you guys, why are you here? Orovia asked quickly. Mom, brother Ronan brought me here. Fortunately, we are here, otherwise you were in danger. Before Ronan bends down, Robin hurriedly jumped down and ran to Orovia's side, looking at his embarrassed mother. He was about to cry immediately. Aunt Orovia, are you okay? Ronan looked at Orovia with concern and saw that she was not injured. He was relieved immediately. Fortunately, he came in time. Otherwise, he felt that his appearance might have changed the original plot and made Orovia can't escape smoothly. Orovia in the original plot did not die here, but will be killed in the later plot. As a whole Ohara, only Robin survived. I'm fine. Orovia glanced nervously into the distance, and immediately said, "Did you not meet anyone on the way here? Let's go quickly. Someone behind is chasing me." "Mom, don't worry." Seeing his mother's nervousness, Robin immediately said, "The people who chased you after you have been dealt with by Ronan's brother, and they can be regarded as revenge for Grandpa Farrell and the others." "Solved. Have you entered that ruin before?" Orovia asked in a daze. "Yes." Ronan nodded. "After we entered the ruins, we found the bodies of the people who had been killed. We chased them all the way. On the way behind, we encountered a dozen seamen armed with muskets. They have been dealt with by me." Quote. Call. Orovia breathed a sigh of relief, and then she relaxed, and she fell to the ground when she felt weak, but was supported by Ronan and Robin on the side. Mom, are you okay? What's the matter with you?" Robin asked anxiously, thinking that there was something wrong with his mother's body, or was hit by a gun, so he quickly checked. "It's okay. I'm okay. It's just a bit too tired." Orovia took Robin's hand, and finally showed a relaxed expression on his face. "You two kids dare to go out to sea here. It's really desperate. How dangerous is the sea?" "Don't worry about Mother, we won't be in danger if Ronan is here." Robin replied, "We also encountered some dangers on the way here, including pirates and marines, but they were all taken care of by Ronan." "Yes, and also, after you left, Ohara also encountered great danger." "Ohara is also in danger." As soon as Orovia heard this, her heart burst and asked quickly. "Yes, advertisement." Ronan answered, "Auntie, just a few days after you left, the Buster Call fleet of the world government came to Ohara, intending to destroy the entire Ohara, but I blocked it and killed them smoothly." Quote. Ronan said it relaxed, and even his expression did not change, as if destroying the Buster Call fleet was just a very simple matter. But Orovia knows that this must be very difficult. She has heard of the Buster Call fleet. She doesn't know how much the existence of the world government has been destroyed. After hundreds of years, the destroyed islands and the killed races. It's almost impossible to count. And Ronan, can he block the Buster Call fleet? Although she knew that Ronan was not easy, she still couldn't imagine how he did such a thing. Seeing the incredible look on Orovia, Ronan touched his nose without speaking. But Robin proudly said, "Brother Ronan is amazing. He has eaten a Logia devil fruit. He will use a very powerful flame. It is much more powerful than my flower fruit. Those enemies are not opponents at all." Quote. "So Ronan, you have also eaten devil fruit." Hearing this, Orovia was a little convinced. After all, she still knew the magic of devil fruit. With the blessing of devil fruit's ability, even though Ronan was young, he might still be able to do such a thing. "Okay, Mom, let's not talk about it now. Let's go back to the boat with us. There are a lot of food and drink on the boat. You can go back and have a good rest." Seeing the exhausted look of his mother, Robin said distressedly. "Yes, Aunt Orovia, this is a desert, the environment is too bad, you need to rest now, or come back to the boat with us soon." Ronan also followed. No. Orovia shook his head uncharacteristically, and then said with sadness in his eyes, "Follow and their bodies are still in the ruins. I'm going to bury their bodies." That's right, Ronan couldn't refuse such a thing. After nodding, he took out a bottle of physical potion and gave it to Orovia. "Then you drink a bottle of physical potion first, otherwise your current body will not be able to support the ruins." Good. Orovia didn't refuse, and directly drank the physical potion. In an instant, the exhausted body seemed to be filled with infinite energy, and it instantly recovered to its peak period. Afterwards, the group of 3 people returned towards the ruins, and soon they were inside the ruins. After all the corpses of Farrar and others were buried, they left the ruins and headed towards the place where the giant waves docked on the edge of the island. On the seashore, where the Julong was docked, 3 warships with seagull flags had already surrounded the Julong. Chapter 22 Trapped Ronan. Wait for Garp to come and wipe out the sea, surrounded by one of the 3 warships around the Julong. Are you sure? This is the ship that Ronan took. That's right. A majestic middle-aged man, wearing a marine coat standing on the bow, looked at the giant wave with solemn eyes, and asked a staff officer beside him. The staff officer sternly said, "Yes, Brusco Rear Admiral, I have seen pictures of this ship in the intelligence pictures. I can't go wrong. You have been hunting down archaeologists for this period of time, and you haven't paid much attention to Ronan. However, I often contact the branch. I have always remembered Ronan's information. This is the ship that he took on the giant wave. It's strange that Ronan's ship will appear here. Although Brusco Rear Admiral doesn't pay attention to Ronan, he also knows such a man. He is a ruthless person. Although he is young, he is Marine's archenemy. He must not be underestimated. It can be said that the people who despised Ronan are already cold now, and he doesn't want to follow the lessons of those unlucky ghosts. Report to Lord Rear Admiral, there is no one on board." One of several Marines in charge of searching the Julong came to report. "No one, then, that is to say, Ronan has already been on the island." Brusco thought for a while. "Tell me to go down and pull the boat away and trap Ronan on this island." "Your Excellency Rear Admiral is a great idea." The staff officer's eyes lit up and he shouted with a thumbs up. "Trap Ronan here, and then we notify the headquarters and send Admiral here, and Ronan will surely be besieged on this deserted island." Ha ha. Hearing the praise from his subordinates, this Rear Admiral finally showed a smile. To blame, Ronan has no eyes and dared to provoke my marine. How many boys died in his hands? For such a hand touch. The villain full of blood must be suppressed strongly. If it weren't for his good strength, I would personally kill him. Rear Admiral snorted. He did not dare to trouble Ronan alone, and even with his 3 warships, he did not dare to face Ronan. There was no way. Ronan was too strong, and Ronan was alone in the intelligence to destroy Buster. What happened to the Call fleet made him afraid to face Ronan rashly. You know, Grace Vice Admiral is the Vice Admiral of the headquarters, and he is only the Rear Admiral of the West Blue Branch. If it is placed in the headquarters of Marineford, it is at most the same level as those Commodores, not only the position, but also the strength. Niplo, you go to inform the branch now and ask the branch's opinion. If possible, let the headquarters dispatch Admiral. Rear Admiral looked at the staff and said. Advertisement. Understood, I'm going to notify the branch now. Niplo took the order, walked into the cabin and contacted the branch with a phone worm. The West Blue Branch heard Brusco's idea and found it very feasible, and then contacted Marineford and told Kong the news. After thinking for a while, Kong did not contact the Admiral in New World, but the Marine hero Garp, who was on vacation in Windmill Village. Garp is no ordinary Marine. Although his position is only at the Vice Admiral level, his strength is actually at the Admiral level, or even higher. As a Marine Vice Admiral who defeated Golden Lion and forced Roger into desperation many times, his strength is beyond doubt. He even once teamed up with Roger to defeat Nox in the Valley of Gods. It is conceivable that Kong would treat Ronan seriously, otherwise Garp would not be allowed to take action. As for West Blue, Niplo, the staff officer who received the reply, immediately reported the news to Brusco. So Brusco started a layout for Ronan and wanted to trap Ronan on this deserted island until Garp arrived. You can catch him, or even kill him. On the desert island, Ronan, Robin and Orovia were strolling along. Now they are not in a hurry, and there is no need to rush. After all, things are resolved. Mom, do you have any information about the historical text in the ruins? Robin asked. No, Orovia shook his head. Actually, we were ambushed by seamen just after entering the ruins, and we didn't have time to study it, but. Orovia thought for a while, and said, from the space where Farrell and the others were buried, I checked the ruins for a while. I felt that there was no historical text in the ruins. It should be those. The Marines deliberately released deceptive news, trying to catch all those who are ready to come to explore the ruins and discover the text of the history. These guys, why do they always stop others from exploring history? Robin said angrily. Because they don't want these historical truths to be unearthed. Orovia sighed. The world government erased the information. Obviously, the information is not good for them, so of course they will prevent others from exploring the truth. Quote. Then, shall we not explore it in the future? Robin was a little lost. She also had the same dream. As an archaeologist, her dream is to explore what happened in the 100 years of disappearance. But now the world government is trying its best to stop it, and it is estimated that no one has the ability to find out the truth. It is estimated that there is no way. If you want to survive, you can only survive according to the rules set by the world government and the celestial dragons. Those who oppose them have never had a good end. Orovia sighed. Ha ha, advertisement. At this moment, Ronan suddenly chuckled and looked at Orovia. Aunt Orovia, I think you can continue to study. I can protect you. Robin, what do you think? Upon hearing this, Robin's eyes lit up. Yes, he had agreed with Ronan before. He went to sea with his mother to study the text of history. Ronan was responsible for the protection. Ronan was so powerful, so surely there was no problem. Yes, it's okay to have Ronan's brother here. Robin called out immediately. This. Orovia hesitated. After all, it was the world government, but celestial dragons, the world's noblemen. Ronan is only 10 years old. Can he withstand such horrible pressure? Mom, don't hesitate. With Ronan, everything is okay. Ronan is great, Robin said proudly. She had seen Ronan's strength with her own eyes. Here, let's look at it again. Orovia hesitated. Ohara's safety, Robin said before. After she left, the Buster Call fleet was going to destroy Ohara, although it was defeated by Ronan. But what should she do if she sends the fleet to Ohara again? Auntie is worried about Ohara. Ronan saw Orovia's worry and said, don't worry, I have asked Ohara's people to speak out. I haven't died in a day. Whoever dares to move Ohara is to do it with me. Enemy, if the world government dares to move Ohara, I will definitely kill Mariajoy in the future and destroy the world government. Orovia was shocked by Ronan's words, but when you think about it carefully, the world government is really likely to be deterred by this threat. After all, Ronan is just 10 years old now and he is so powerful, and before Ronan is completely eliminated, I don't really dare to do anything to Ohara. In case Ronan hides and waits a few years to fully grow to be unmatched, he might really be able to destroy the world government. The world government would rather face a Ronan who is in the open than a Ronan who hides and grows in secret. So, thinking about it this way, it seems that Ohara will not encounter any crisis in the future, at least Ronan is still alive, and there will be no accidents until he is arrested. Ever since, Orovia agreed. After a short while, the three of them finally came to the beach, but they were stunned when they saw the situation on the beach. Huh, where's our boat? Robin's eyes widened, and he looked at the empty seaside incredible. FK, where's my boat? Ronan was also shocked. Where did the Julong go? Look, what's on the distant sea? Orovia suddenly pointed to a few black spots on the distant sea and said. Chapter 23 Angry Ronan. Sign in bonus skill card. Are those people pirates? They stole our boat. Robin said suspiciously. It's possible. Orovia nodded. The sea is full of dangers and there are many pirates, far more than marine. Ronan's ship docked on the coast and was taken away by the passing pirates. It is really normal. These damn guys. Ronan was angry. We stole our boat, don't let me catch it. Damn it. Robin also pouted angrily. I originally took my mother to leave the island, but the ship was stolen. It was too embarrassing to find someone to make sense. Brother Ronan, the ship is gone, what shall we do now? Robin looked at Ronan. It seemed that Ronan was omnipotent in her mind. Now that there are no ships, how are they going to leave? It's a bit troublesome. Ronan also scratched his head a bit. If there is no ship, he has nothing to do. He can't leave from the sky. He still doesn't have the ability to fly, and the sign in bonus hasn't exploded flying skills yet. Therefore, Ronan now has nothing to do. No matter how strong his combat power is, but now that the enemy is running away, he can't catch up with him, so he has nothing to do with the opponent. Correct. Ronan suddenly looked at Orovia. Aunt Orovia, where did you take the boat when you came here? Orovia came here for archaeology. She must have come by boat, and the boat must have been docked somewhere. In the original work, she managed to escape. Now it depends on whether the other ship is still there. Advertisement. The boat we took was on the other side of the island, far from here. Orovia frowned and said, if you walk, it will take at least 2 days to get from here to the stopping point. So long. Ronan frowned, looked at the sea again, and looked quietly for a while, only to find that the black spots on the sea did not leave, but just stopped quietly in the sea. Something is wrong. If it is a normal pirate, they will definitely leave after stealing the boat, and find a lively island to sell the boat. Luo-nan squinted his eyes and looked at the sea and said, and now these people have not left. I'm afraid it's not as simple as a pirate. Upon hearing this, Orovia was taken aback, and then said, could it be that these people are not pirates? Marine. It should be right, only Marine will do this, hee. They have made a good calculation, controlled our ship, and then besieged us on the island, waiting for reinforcements to arrive. Ronan sneered. Well, let's see what whole cards these Marines have played, dare to take my ship. Ronan, you can't be careless. Orovia said with a frown. Since the other party dared to do this, it must be certain. Maybe the reinforcements are from Marineford, maybe Admiral will shoot. If it is really Admiral, you may be in danger. Aunt Orovia thinks first I'm not Marine Admiral's opponent. Ronan smiled at the corner of his mouth. I really want to try it out, how strong is Marine Admiral? Yes, what is Admiral? Ronan is invincible. Robin raised her head and said, she was very confident of Ronan, regardless of whether the opponent was Admiral or not, it was definitely not Ronan's opponent, who would squash his head when he came. Robin, join in the fun too. Orovia looked at Robin angrily, then looked at Ronan and said, Ronan, we'd better be more careful. Since the other party has made up his mind to deal with you, it must be impossible to fight you alone. Maybe many people will come to arrest you, and Robin and I will be there again, which will drag you back. We can't fight them on the other side's setup field. This is not good for us. Aunt Orovia is right. Advertisement. I have to admit that what Orovia said is very reasonable. Even if he is not afraid, he is confident that he can deal with any means of the other party, but it is not his character to accept the challenge passively, in case the other party has any special means. Or grabbing Robin mother and daughter to threaten him, what should I do? Robin's mother and daughter are not the people on Ohara Island. If the world government catches the people on Ohara Island and threatens him, he will not be slaughtered by others and will be arrested. But Robin's mother and daughter can't. They are the closest in the world. People, there must be no accidents. Then, let's find Aunt Orovia on the ship you were on. Ronan said helplessly. It was the first time he encountered such a helpless situation, and he suffered from insufficient manpower. If someone stayed on board at the time, such a thing would never happen, at least it would be no problem to sail away. Yes, the sailing speed of the Julong is no worse than that of Marine's large warships, and the current dilemma will not happen. Okay, then we will set off now. Orovia nodded and said. So the three of them set off again. Before leaving, Ronan glanced coldly at the sea. Don't let him catch the opportunity, otherwise, all the people who took his boat away would die. These people are really irritated. Ronan, once encountered, will definitely suffer a fatal blow to Ronan. The three of them started on their way, and found a safe place to spend the night at night. It was indeed very miserable, which intensified Ronan's hatred of the ship-stealing group Marine. On the road again the next day, Ronan also took this opportunity to complete a new day's sign-in, and this time the sign-in reward was finally not the same kind of medicine as before, but a new reward. Skill card. Able to raise any skill level by 1 level. Ronan looked at the skill card in the system space, and finally showed a smile on his face. This skill card is much stronger than those potions. The skill card that can directly increase the skill level can save him a lot of skill training time. After thinking about it, Ronan directly used the skill card and raised the level of Mera-mera Fruit by 1 level, reaching the level of LV7, which is the same level as the earliest Haki and Ryayun swordsmanship, and the ability of Mera-mera Fruit. It has also been greatly strengthened. The skill card is not bad, I hope I can get this kind of reward next time I sign in. Single quote. Ronan smashed his mouth and said with a sigh that he doesn't need to practice himself if he has a skill card. Not to mention saving time, he can also immediately improve his combat power. With strong combat power, he is too comfortable. NS. Unfortunately, the ability to fly is not rewarded. Single quote. He still wants a flying skill. It is too convenient to have flying skills. If he has the ability to fly now, he can turn around and kill the group of Marines who stole his ships instead of being in the desert like he is now. During the arduous walk, if the ship Orovia was riding on was also taken away by Marine or pirates, he would be dumbfounded, and he would really be trapped on this island. Chapter 24 Can't Bear It. Look back for trouble. Another day and night passed. Ronan and the three finally arrived on the other side of the island. At noon on the third day, they successfully arrived at a simple port and successfully saw the Orovia and other archaeologists riding. Fortunately, the ship was still there, and it was not discovered by Marine or the pirates. It's also true that the sea is so big, even if this island is said to be small, that's for all the prosperous islands of West Blue and the entire sea. In fact, this island has a radius of hundreds of square kilometers. Otherwise, the three of Ronan wouldn't have been away for more than 2 days. The coastline of such a big island is very terrifying. A small ship can find a coastline to dock. It is difficult to find it by chance. Where is it like the giant wave? It was discovered by Marine by such a coincidence. It is unlucky. Got home. After the three of them got on the boat, they finally breathed a sigh of relief. After a lot of washing, they did not rush to set off the boat. Instead, they had a big meal together, had a good meal, and then took a rest before setting off. These 2 days have been rushing in the desert, but the three of them are exhausted. Even people like Orovia who often go to the harsh area for archaeology can't handle it. What's more, Ronan and Robin, Ronan is okay and physically strong. Zhuang and Robin really suffered. If Ronan hadn't been carrying her on the road from time to time, maybe he would have fallen in the desert. The source of food in the desert is also a problem. The three of them almost went hungry in the past 2 days. Fortunately, they have managed to get out of the desert, but this time Ronan became even more angry with Marine. No, you can't let those Marines go. Ronan got up directly and walked to the deck. After raising the sails, he directly controlled the rudder and headed towards the other side of the island where the giant wave was located. Ronan, are you going to trouble those Marines? Orovia said anxiously. The opponent is a warship with artillery on it. My ship is just an ordinary archaeological vessel, but it doesn't have any weapons. If you fight with the opponent, it won't take advantage. Fine, Ronan said with a cold face, I will be there at that time, there will be no problems. As long as I can get a little closer, I can solve everyone else. As long as he gets closer, he can jump directly onto the opponent's ship with his physical stamina and skills. You must know that although he has no flying skills, among the skills of Marine 6 styles, he has the ability to stay in the air. As long as he is not too far away, he may jump directly to the opponent's ship to kill the opponent. These Marines really angered Ronan. If he didn't solve the other party, his heart was upset and his thoughts were blocked. If this is placed in the world of cultivating immortals, it will form a heart demon, even though he hasn't cultivated anything in this world. A mortal cultivation technique, but if he signs in and rewards a top-notch cultivation technique, he still cultivates. Besides, he is upset right now, he just wants to kill the opponent, and he has the ability to kill the opponent, so naturally he wants to go, otherwise he can't swallow the breath. Advertisement. This. Okay. Seeing that persuasion was useless, Orovia didn't say any more. She had never really seen Ronan's strength, and she was a little worried about Ronan going directly to the other party for trouble. Robin was very confident in Ronan, and he immediately shouted, Mom, don't persuade Ronan brother, this is what Marine asked for. Huh, he dared to steal our boat, leaving me in the desert. I have eaten the sand for 2 days in it, and I definitely cannot spare them so simply. Robin grumbled his little fist and said. Hearing Robin say this, Orovia didn't say anything anymore. Driven by the sea breeze, the ship moved quickly, breaking through the waves and sailing quickly above the sea, heading directly towards the direction of the Julong. Now that there is an Orovia on the ship, some things are easier to do. She is also an archaeologist who often walks on the ocean. She has much more knowledge about sea navigation than Ronan and Robin. So, the ship sails it went smoothly, but in the afternoon, he successfully rushed to the sea area where the Julong is located, which is the other side of the island, and the sailing time only took less than 2 hours. On the sea where the Julong is located, 3 warships are floating, and on the observation deck of the warship stands a seaman who is responsible for observing the sea surface. At this moment, a seaman's eyes are condensed and he finds an archaeological ship approaching quickly. Report that an unfamiliar ship is approaching quickly. The Marines immediately went to the cabin to report to Brusco Rear Admiral. What ship? A pirate. Brusco raised his brows and dared to come directly toward his warship. Is there a pirate who stupidly wants to come and die? It's not a pirate ship. The seaman who reported it shook his head and said, it seems to be an archaeological ship. Archaeological ship. Brusco and Nipro glanced at each other, and their hearts moved, thinking of something. Didn't they come to this island to hunt down the archaeologists of Ohara, and now they have detained Ronan's ship, and now there is another archaeological ship approaching, they all understand it too well. Advertisement. Oh, it must be that Ronan. He found that his ship was missing, so he took the archaeological ship and wanted to take it back. Staff Niplo sneered. Yes, I think so too, but I don't know if the archaeologists were killed. Brusco said. The island team responsible for hunting down has not heard any news now. It may be that Ronan has been encountered. It was solved by Ronan, but Ronan came late. Maybe they killed the archaeologists before Ronan solved it. In this way, they would be considered dead and valuable. Your Excellency Rear Admiral, what shall we do now? Niplo asked. Let's go and take a look on the deck first. The two brought people to the deck, and at a glance they saw the archaeological ship approaching quickly on the sea in the distance. It's pretty fast. Brusco Rear Admiral's mouth curled up. However, he thought an archaeological ship could catch up with our warship. Ha ha, a joke. Your Excellency Rear Admiral, Nipro suddenly frowned. Of course the archaeological ship cannot catch up with our warship, but what about the ship left by Ronan? That ship also needs to be manned, should we take it with us? Fleeing in Ronan's boat. He doesn't think that the people of his 3 warships can deal with Ronan, but if he wants to escape, will the Julong bring it? And now that Ronan had boarded the archaeological ship, their previous purpose would have been self-defeating. Yes, they planned to trap Ronan on the island, and their plan to wait for Admiral to come and destroy Ronan was completely frustrated. At this time, Brusco obviously thought of this, and he frowned. While the 2 men were thinking about countermeasures, the other 2 warships also moved. Obviously, they also found the fast-approaching ship, and sent Brusco to ask whether they needed to attack or stop the ship approaching rashly. Chapter 25 Rear Admiral Wise. Just looking for death. Your Mightiness, Nipro said in a deep voice. There is no time to think about it. The ship is about to enter the range of the artillery. It's better to make a decision early if the battle is to retreat. Brusco couldn't help gritting his teeth and said, it's not my style to run without a fight. Although Ronan is indeed strong, our manpower is not his opponent, but don't forget, he is a demon fruit power. We only need to sink the ship he was in from a long distance, and let him fall into the sea, and we will definitely kill him. We don't have to fight him on board. Your Excellency Rear Admiral is wise. Nipro's eyes lit up and he praised. Indeed, although we are not Ronan's opponent, as a demon fruit power, he is afraid of the shortcomings of the sea. As long as the archaeological ship is sunk, there is no need at all. We can get rid of him with our hands. In this way, we have also completely eliminated a major disaster for our marine. Maybe the headquarters will reward us for this. At that time, you will become the branch vice admiral, or even the headquarters vice admiral. Haha, then do that. Upon hearing this, Brusco laughed immediately, and then issued an attack order. Once the archaeological ship entered the attack range of the artillery, the 3 warships fired together and attacked the archaeological ship before it approached. Shen. I have to say that Brusco thinks beautifully, and the plan works. However, they have forgotten that Ronan once abruptly and quickly approached the Buster Call fleet on the giant wave, destroying the entire fleet. At that time, he hadn't learned Marine 6 styles before he was able to do so. The fleet, and now with Marine 6 styles airborne capability, how could he be finished under the attack of 3 warships? Although the destruction of the Buster Call fleet was caused by the underestimation of Spandane and Grace, it also represented Ronan's strength. Rumble. Bang bang bang. As soon as the archaeological ship entered the range, the artillery of the 3 warships began to bombard. The heads were not so good, most of them were bombed into the sea. On the archaeological ship, Ronan climbed up to the observation deck on the mast and handed the rudder to Orovia. He was responsible for dealing with the shells that occasionally hit the archaeological ship. Several shells hit the ship's deck, with the abrupt ability of Marine 6 styles to fly in midair. This ability to stay in the air is really easy to use. Ronan threw his leg with moonwalk and kicked a shell into the air. He smiled and nodded with satisfaction. With the ability to stay in the air, his combat effectiveness has improved a lot. Now he has a solution to the falling shells. There is no cannonball that can hit a ship. No matter how fast the cannonball is, it can't be as fast as Ronan. Moonwalk's airborne ability, coupled with the vacuum sword proposed by Tempest Kick, can completely kick all the approaching cannonballs away. Advertisement. Soon, with the shell being shot by Ronan, the archaeological ship approached the 3 warships safely, which shocked both Brusco and Nipro. Damn it, how is it possible? This guy can actually fly cannonballs. Brusco gritted his teeth. Without sinking the archaeological ship, we are in danger right now. Your Excellency Rear Admiral, what should we do now? Nipulo asked with some horror. Ask me everything, I want you as a staff to have a shit. Upon hearing what Niplo said, Brusco immediately turned his head and glared at Niplo. As a staff officer with the army, Niplo is really useless. Whenever something happens, he asks himself what to do. Why don't you think of a solution by yourself? Me. The corners of Niplo's mouth twitched, and he couldn't help it. It was originally the staff position obtained through the back door. To say how capable he was, he really didn't. Now he is really panicked when he encounters such a dangerous moment. Shut up you. Brusco gave Nipro a fierce look, then looked at the archaeological ship approaching quickly with a gloomy expression, and gave the order. Quickly, pass the order, turn the rudder and leave, we are a warship, and the speed is higher than the archaeological ship of the other party. It will definitely be able to get rid of Ronan's pursuit. Okay, me, I'll pass the order. Niplo ran away in a hurry, to deliver Brusco's order. What a waste. Looking at the back of Nipro running away, Brusco sighed, then looked solemnly at the archaeological ship Ronan was in. At this speed, maybe. Maybe I can't run away at all, I just hope this. Ronan would be afraid of my many seamen, so he wouldn't dare to kill him directly. However, he didn't know that Ronan had hated him to death. If he didn't kill him today, Ronan would never give up. Robin, you are on this ship. Don't do anything else. Leave all 3 warships to me to solve them. Wait for me to come back. Looking at the three warships that were already very close, Ronan spoke to Robin on the lower deck, and he leapt into the air quickly. Then his right foot slammed into the air. Moonwalk's ability to stay in the air launched. The huge impact carried his body like a phantom, rushing to one of the three warships quickly. Brush. Advertisement. Boom. Ronan's figure fell from the sky amidst the horrified gazes of the seamen, and landed on the deck of the warship with a bang, then slowly straightened up, looking at these seamen with cold eyes. Although Ronan at this moment is just a teenage boy, but in the eyes of the sea soldiers, he is like a demon falling from the sky. The cold eyes shine on them, and even give them a bitterness. The tingling pain. Ah, go to hell. A seaman couldn't bear such a huge pressure, and fired directly at Ronan with a gun in his hand. Bang bang bang. The bullet was shot out, but Ronan didn't see the appearance of being hit and wounded. Facing the bullet that was shot, Ronan just waved his right hand, and then opened his palm, crackling, and the sound of the bullet falling on the deck made all the Marines' eyes widened, as if they were frightened by seeing a ghost. Expression. He caught all the bullets. A seaman said tremblingly. If the other side can catch the bullet, it shows that ordinary muskets are of no use to the other side. So what should they do with Ronan? Go up to melee. The seamen looked at each other, but none of them dared to make a move, so they didn't dare to stand out. I have no time to spend time with you guys. Ronan's eyes flashed and he whispered, Conquerors. A terrifying majesty fell, and the Marines only felt a roar in their minds, and then they lost consciousness and passed out into a coma. When Ronan saw this, his expression did not change at all. He just raised his hand and a terrifying flame appeared, igniting the entire ship. All the seamen on this warship were in the flames and burned together with this warship. Sank. It only takes less than a minute in Ronan's hands to destroy a warship with nearly 100 naval soldiers. Chapter 26 Kill Brusco in a second. Destruction. This made the seamen on the other two warships all terrified. They originally thought that the seamen on that warship would be able to resist for a while, and they would also be able to provide some opportunities for them to escape from the two warships. Nan had completely wiped out the warship in just a short while on board the ship, which was too terrifying. This damn Ronan. Brusco's teeth were almost crushed, and his eyes were full of anger and looked at the burning warship. There were nearly 100 sailors on it, but they were all his subordinates, who have followed him on missions in West Blue for many years. It's also emotional. I didn't expect it to be folded in like this. Dead, dead, all dead. Standing on the next deck, Niplo looked tremblingly at the warship sinking under the flames, his face turned blue and his lips turned pale. The seamen holding muskets also looked the same, tremblingly watching the sinking warship in the flames. Their hearts were broken, and they had no intention of confrontation. That Ronan is terrifying. God, demon, this is a demon, so many seamen were killed by him. The entire warship was burned by him. Hurry up, run away quickly. Damn it, why the wind is so small, the sailing speed is too slow, and it's impossible to escape. The Marines began to despair, especially those responsible for raising the sails, watching the sea breeze sway the sails, but because the wind was too small, the speed of the ship could not be increased in the first time, and at this time, Ronan has come. Boom. There was a loud noise in the air, and Ronan's figure had already landed on another warship. Just like the previous warship, the same ending also fell on this warship. Conquerors. Mera-mera Fruit. Burning the sky. On the second warship, after Ronan fell, there was no room for the Marines on the ship to resist, and Conquerors cleared the way. Then the Mera-mera Fruit ability broke out, and the flame covered the entire warship, igniting the entire warship, crackling flames. The sound of burning wood spread far away. Afterwards, Ronan didn't waste any time at all. No one on the ignited warship could escape. Even some of the officers on the ship could not withstand the damage from the flames of Conqueror's Haki and Mera-mera Fruit, and they were all burned out. He had already stepped into the air and went to the last warship. Advertisement. Boom. Once again, Ronan, who landed on the deck for the third time, raised his head and looked at the last warship. The tall figure standing at the front of the deck. This man is wearing a marine coat and a star on his shoulders. Obviously it is the leader of these three warships. And the idea of taking oneself away from the giant wave and besieging oneself on a deserted island must have come up with this person. Ronan. Brusco took a deep breath and looked at Ronan gloomily. Ronan in front of him was really just a 10-year-old boy, not even his waist tall, but it was such a child that caused the entire West Blue Marine branch to suffer. A huge loss, more than 1,000 seamen have died in his hands so far. Although the other party looked like a child with an immature face, he could do things like a real demon, ruthless, cruel, and evil. As much as possible, he must kill the demon with his own hands, and give West Blue a peace, also in order to carry out the absolute justice that Marine represents. You are the leader of this fleet. Ronan looked at Brusco with cold eyes, and said calmly. Yes, I am Rear Admiral Brusco of Marine West Blue Branch. Ronan, you have killed so many Marines again, you are unforgivable. Brusco looked at Ronan with red eyes, and growled. His eyes were as if he was about to eat Ronan raw. Dare to take my ship captive, you, it's not a pity to die. Ronan said flatly. I haven't gone to you to settle the account yet, you have the courage to come to me for trouble, not knowing whether you live or die. Ronan, don't be proud, the headquarter has already decided to deal with you. With Admiral taking action, you will definitely not get away for long. Brusco glared at Ronan and said, I'm waiting for the day when you are judged by justice. Oh, the so-called justice ruling. You can't wait any longer. Ronan's figure flashed and he had come in front of Brusco, with a wave of the Sunwheel knife in his hand. Although Brusco was also demon fruit power, he even possessed the skills of Marine 6 styles. Unfortunately, his strength was far worse than Ronan. It's too much, the world is different, even Ronan's move can't be resisted, and he is instantly killed by a spike. Ronan's current strength is at least at the level of Admiral 4 Emperors. Isn't it enough to deal with Rear Admiral of a West Blue branch? Ocean, Marine 6 styles. Advertisement. I haven't seen it clearly just now. Now that Ronan kills Brusco in a second, Nipro can finally see clearly. Ronan moved in front of Brusco at high speed, and he used the shaved in Marine 6 styles. Then think about Ronan. The way you stepped into the air just now, isn't that the moonwalk in Marine 6 styles? How did you come to Marine 6 styles? Niplo stammered, his face full of horror. Impossible, you learned Marine 6 styles, no wonder you can come here. How first learned Marine 6 styles, you don't need to worry about it. Glancing at Niplo, although the opponent does not seem to be an ordinary seaman, in Ronan's eyes, it is still just an ant who kills easily. Laugh. The blade flicked across Nipulo's neck, and Nipulo's face still had a horrified and desperate head, rolling down on the deck, completely dead. Go to hell. Around, a group of Marines witnessed the two generals being killed face to face, and roared like a collapse. A large musket firing rang out. They knew in their hearts that they and the others would definitely not be able to escape, and they were about to step onto the previous two warships. Following in the footsteps, however, they did not accept their fate to wait for death, but planned to fight back desperately. The sound of countless muskets sounded, and a large black bullet formed a barrage to cover Ronan. However, it's useless. Such ordinary bullets can't hurt Ronan at all. Not to mention that his moving speed is terrifying. Even if he stands still and lets these bullets hit, he can't break through his terrifying defense. Don't forget, there is one in Marine 6 styles. With strong defense skills, if he really wants to turn on the iron body defense, even if it is frontally bombarded by the main warship, he will not be able to hurt him. Maybe only armament Haki plus a famous sword can hurt him, and it has to be the Admiral 4 Emperors or Shichibukai level powerhouses. It's a pity that there is no such a strong on this warship. Even if there is, Ronan can't stand still and let the opponent chop. Conquerors. Mera-mera Fruit. Burning the sky. The last warship was also destroyed by Ronan. So far, Brusco's 3 warships and hundreds of marines on it have all been annihilated, plus a few colonels, Brusco himself and Nipro. This battle down, the West Blue branch suffered heavy losses. After completely solving these guys, Ronan flew away and landed on his own Julong not far away. After solving a few seamen hiding in the cabin, he threw his body into the sea and drove. The giant wave headed towards the archaeological ship not far away. Chapter 27 Naval Headquarters is angry. Garp and Zephyr. Ronan, you are back, are you not injured? Although not far apart, Robin and Orovia did not see Ronan fighting each other with their own eyes. Not long after Ronan boarded the warship, 3 warships caught fire one by one and then sank. They were still a little worried. Ronan's safety. I'm not injured, it's impossible for these little guys to hurt me. Don't worry. After jumping on the archaeological ship, Ronan smiled slightly and said that he was not injured. Then he glanced at the Julong next to him. Some headaches occurred. Both the archaeological ship and the Julong were present, but the manpower for the boat was extremely lacking. There are only 3 of them, how do they drive the 2 boats away? After thinking for a while, Ronan said, Aunt Orovia, the giant wave is much better than your archaeological ship in terms of speed and size. We might as well go to the giant wave. Okay. Robin yelled before Orovia spoke, agreeing very much with Ronan's opinion. There are still a lot of materials that she bought on the Julong, and there are even some she bought. Clothes and delicious food. She had lived on the Julong for several days before, and was used to the environment on the Julong, but this archaeological ship looked a little worse. Orovia frowned and thought about it. What about this archaeological ship? Do you want to discard it? Just transfer some of the supplies on board to the giant wave, and then I will set the fire to burn it, and I can't let it float on the sea, right? Ronan could only deal with this archaeological ship in this way. After all, it is impossible for 3 people to drive 2 ships. The Julong is enough. Then, okay, Orovia nodded, and then the 3 began to carry supplies, not just some food and the like, but also some archaeological utensils, and even some books, charts, and so on. Soon after the transportation was completed, Ronan burned the archaeological ship under a fire, and then the 3 of them drove the J-Lang out of the sea. Advertisement. Ronan was gone, but a few days later, West Blue's Marine branch finally noticed that Brusco's fleet was destroyed in Ronan's hands. Upon receiving this news, the commander of West Blue branch was furious, but Ronan had no choice but to report the news to Marineford. Naval Headquarters, Marineford. In the Marshal's office in the headquarters building, Kong looked a little gloomy. Obviously, the bad news from West Blue affected his mood. Originally, Marine's achievements in New World made him a little happy, because recently several large pirates in New World have been fighting fiercely. The battles due to land grabbing occur almost every day, and the time between Whitebeard and Kaido is almost 2 days. A small dozen, 3 days a big fight, and the ant who originally confronted Admiral, is also paying attention to the battle between the two, and avoiding the limelight of Marine forces, which makes Marine's influence in New World increased. How could Kong not understand the ant's thoughts? Obviously, he meant to take advantage of the fire. Marine's plan was the same. He even issued an order to tell Marine not to target the realm of Whitebeard and Kaido, but to target the Ant's territory instead, encircled and suppressed some of the pirates under the Ant, and this made Whitebeard and Kaido relieved a lot. After all, the two are not fools. It is impossible to really fight to the death and the loss, and finally let the Ant pick up the bargain. Now Marine is not shooting against the two, but instead is targeting the Ant. This let the two put their hearts down to fight. Therefore, in New World at this moment, the forces of all parties have almost reached a new balance point, but Marine can take the opportunity to develop their forces step by step in this opportunity. After all, it was originally in a place like New World, between Marine and pirates. Power comparison does not hold any advantage, and now, Marine's development momentum is obviously much better than in the past. However, at such a moment, he was depressed by the news from West Blue. It's Ronan again. Do you really think that Marine can't help you? Kong slapped the table fiercely, his eyes full of anger. At this moment, a person walked into the office. It was a middle-aged woman, wearing a marine coat. Her body was thin, but her eyes were full of wisdom. Marshal, Garp is back. The woman said. Well, just come back. Kong nodded with a sullen face. Advertisement. Does the Marshal still have a headache for West Blue? The woman said again. If Garp takes the shot this time, it should be no problem. After all, he can deal with Rox and Roger, but a kid can't solve it. That said, but, Kong looked up, looked at the woman and said, Crane, what do you think of Ronan? The woman is not someone else, she is the head of the staff. She is not the old man 20 years from now. After hearing Kong's words, she thought for a while and said, this Ronan is indeed unusual. He is only in his teens now. He is already out of control. If he can, he must not be allowed to grow up. He must be arrested early. Otherwise, let alone other things, the noise he made in West Blue has already caused the world, even the seamen at the headquarters are a little unstable. Good. Kong nodded his head. This guy has killed several generals and thousands of Marines in West Blue. It is normal for the Marines to know this news and their hearts will be unstable. Therefore, this time Garp shot, we must take it down. Fortunately, like Roger, he was put to death in public. Only in this way can he wash away the stigma he imposed on the world government and my Marine, and even strengthen the reputation of the world government and Marine again. Yes, if it can be done, it can indeed greatly enhance our honor, make the major franchise countries more obedient, and even deter pirates from all over the world. He nodded and said. So, this time Garp shot, do you think you need to send more manpower? Kong said intently. My idea is to let Zephyr go together, and the two will make sure that nothing is wrong. You said, this little guy is now he is only 10 years old, and he can't give him time to continue growing. If he is a few years later, when he reaches adulthood, he might be a tough figure like Roger Rox again. Compared to Roger Rox, I feel that Ronan is more difficult to deal with. So, Marshal, your approach is right. Let Zephyr and Garp act together to make sure that there is nothing wrong. After all, we can't continue to fail. If it fails again, Marine's reputation will suffer a huge blow. The consequences are unbearable for us. Crane staff officer said in a deep voice. Kong nodded his head solemnly. One day later, Garp returned from East Blue Windmill Village. After meeting Kong and Crane, Zephyr from his headquarters took a large warship to West Blue. The goal is to capture Ronan. Then kill on the spot. Chapter 28 Go to Upside Down Mountain. Take longevity medicine. West Blue Ohara and Ronan returned here again. Back here is not to stay here for the rest of the time. On the way back, Ronan and Orovia have already discussed that they will leave Ohara, or even West Blue. After all, if they stay here, just in case Marines call again will also affect the people of Ohara. Orovia very much agrees with this. She still has a bit of self-blame in her heart. All the people who went to the archaeological site with the ruins have died, and she survived alone. Although it cannot be said that the responsibility lies with her, she still has some in her heart. Guilty. Leaving Ohara was also to preserve Ohara's stability. Ronan was right. Before Ronan was captured or killed, Marine would not necessarily target Ohara. Not necessarily. The three of them don't know yet. Marineford did have this concern. To deal with the proposal of the head of the staff to use Ohara to threaten Ronan, Kong rejected it, and even this crooked idea was firmly opposed by the staff of Crane. The reason is nothing else. With Ronan, a demon who killed thousands of sea soldiers, do you think the other party will be threatened by you? Don't think about it, it's impossible. If you really start with Ohara, based on their analysis of Ronan, this guy will definitely not compromise, but will choose to hibernate. Once you let him hide and grow up secretly, then come to the world government or Marine for trouble, then it will be fun. Big. And now, Ronan's whereabouts are not hidden at all, and even very high profile, which is very good. After all, enemies on the bright side are always better to deal with than enemies hidden in the dark, choosing people and devouring them, aren't they? On Ronan's side, it was only one day before he returned to Ohara. Orovia packed up the things at home, then boarded the boat again, and together with Ronan Robin, stayed away from Ohara. On the ocean, the Julong was walking along the ocean current. On the deck, there were a few deck chairs under a parasol, and Ronan and the three were lying on the deck chairs and doing their own things leisurely. Orovia is reading, Robin is studying food, Ronan is sleeping. Brother Ronan, don't sleep, come and see for me, how do you say this food is made? I feel troublesome looking at the recipe. Robin shook Ronan and said, pointing to the recipe in his hand. You ask me, how do I understand this? I am not a cook. Ronan turned Byakugan and said, when we have a cook on board in the future, it's not too late for you to ask him for advice. Do you want to switch to being a cook? No, don't we have no chefs to join? Robin said, did we stop eating good food during this period of time? Advertisement. Then you should also consult Aunt Orovia. Ronan waved his hand. He doesn't know how to cook, he only knows how to eat. Oh, although my mother's cooking is good, no other big restaurant cooks it deliciously. Besides, since I was a kid, I'm tired of what my mother cooks. Robin pouted. Okay, Robin, don't eat the food I made tonight. Next to him, Orovia couldn't help but glared at Robin. Upon hearing this, Robin immediately stuck his tongue out. It was over and offended his mother. I guess I won't be able to eat any good food tonight. Mom, I was wrong. Just forgive me. Robin apologized immediately, and even got up and ran to Orovia to act like a baby. Watching the two playing around, Ronan smiled. This life is what he yearns for now. It is much more comfortable than living in the boring days of Ohara. He can also run around everywhere. The key is to be different. Place sign in. Thinking of this, he still had another chance to sign in today, but he didn't have a place to sign in, and he didn't know if he could reach the new island before night came. The destination they went to this time was not somewhere else, upside down the mountain. Ronan discussed with Orovia and planned to go to East Blue through the upside down mountain. Orovia wanted to go to East Blue for archaeology. There were several ruins there. She felt that some historical information could be unearthed there. And Ronan certainly did not object. East Blue is good. East Blue has more good places than West Blue. Loguetown, Roger's birthplace, Windmill Village, Garp's hometown, the protagonist Luffy's hometown, Coco West Village, Nami's hometown. You can sign in. Too many places. Of course, there is definitely not as much as the Grand Line, but he will definitely go to the Grand Line in the future, or he must go, but it is not bad to go to East Blue before going again, and there is no need to travel back and forth for this in the future. Correct. Ronan suddenly remembered something and said, Aunt Orovia, I have a potion here. You can drink it with Robin. What potion? Orovia curiously asked. She didn't know where Ronan got the potion, but she knew the magic of this potion better than anyone else. Physical potions can quickly restore one's physical strength, psychotropic potions can quickly restore the spirit, and even healing potions are even more miraculous, and can quickly recover from injuries. Some fatal injuries that are not too severe can be recovered instantly, and even some fatal and serious injuries can be recovered. Relieving suppression through healing potions is too important for people who venture on the sea. This advertisement. Ronan smiled at the corner of his mouth and took out a tube of medicine. This medicine is called longevity medicine. After taking it, it can increase a person's lifespan by 100 years. It is very precious. I only have 4 of them. The longevity potion is indeed the most precious among the potions Ronan signed in. After all, it can increase the lifespan of 100 years without any side effects. What? There is this kind of medicine. Orovia was shocked when she heard it. This medicine that could increase lifespan really shocked her. Wow, 100 years of lifespan increase. Robin's eyes widened. Although she is young, she is not a fool. This kind of medicine that can increase lifespan is too precious, okay. Well, I only have 4, 1 for each of us, and 1 remaining. We will leave it to be our ship's partner in the future, but to get this potion, we still need to pass our test. It's impossible to just come. Give him such a good thing, only the most loyal partner is qualified to get it. Ronan said. Of course, he couldn't just come and give such a precious thing. It must be approved by him and other companions to be eligible. Yes, such a precious thing, don't give it away casually. Orovia also nodded solemnly. Good things can't be given casually, and the ones that are easy to get will not be cherished. She is only eligible to get them after being tested. She agrees very much. However, you give me and Robin such a precious thing, isn't it? Orovia thought again, isn't it a bit too simple for him and Robin to get such a potion so easily? Aunt Orovia and Robin, you are the closest people to me. At the beginning, I took in me who had nothing at home and treated me like a family member. How could I still need to test something? Ronan said with a straight face. Haha, I am the same to brother Ronan as my brother. Mom, you think too much. Brother Ronan will definitely think of us first if he has something good. Robin on the side said with a smile. Good. Ronan also nodded and smiled. I am as close to Robin as my sister, so don't think too much about Aunt Orovia. This, okay. Orovia finally nodded. She has never treated Ronan as an outsider, and even treated Ronan as her own son. There has never been a difference in treatment. Now Ronan has something good. One thought of herself and Robin, which also made her very pleased. The 3 of them drank the longevity medicine one after another. The taste was sweet, and the whole body was comfortable, and they could even feel a kind of warm breath produced inside the body, which is a kind of breath of life, constantly moisturizing and nourishing the body, making the body healthier. Chapter 29 Sign in Upside Down Mountain. Reward. Dance in the air. This potion is too powerful. Orovia looked shocked, especially when she felt some small problems that she originally had, such as vision loss caused by reading all the year round, dry skin caused by the archaeological relics all the year round, and some other small problems, all disappeared. She felt my current health is no more healthy. This is far more powerful than the healing potion. Some skin wounds that are mainly treated by therapeutic agents, such as vision and skin, cannot be treated at all, but the current longevity medicine can do it. She felt that she had recovered to the same level as when she was 17 or 18. No, even better, more energetic and energetic. Wow, I feel it too, it's amazing. Robin yelled. Although her feelings are not as clear as Orovia, she can also feel the changes in her body, making her healthier and more energetic. On the contrary, Ronan himself has not changed much. He just feels that his vitality is stronger and stronger. You don't need to look at the attribute panel, but also know that his attributes must have increased a bit, not too much, but it must have increased. Especially the physical aspect. After drinking the longevity potion, all three of them were happy, and Ronan was no exception. His lifespan increased by 100 years, so who was not happy? That night, the three of them made a particularly rich dinner to celebrate, and their mouths filled with oil. 2 more days passed. During the period, Ronan needed to find a place to sign in, and the Julong also needed to find a place to dock, supplement supplies, and found an island to dock. After going to the island this time, just after completing the replenishment of supplies, the three of them encountered a wave of bounty hunters. A group of 8 bounty hunters. When the three of them were purchasing supplies and preparing to return to the giant wave, they drove out of the way they had to pass, surrounded the three of them, and prepared to do their work. However, these guys can still deal with ordinary pirates, but they don't know that the Ronan they are facing makes Marine helpless. Ever since, their ending is almost destined. The 8 bounty hunters were neatly organized. Ronan went down with Haki, then raised the knife and killed 8 people, and then drove away, so that the bounty hunters who came after getting the information were shattered. This Ronan is too powerful, don't provoke it. A bounty hunter said with trepidation. He was ready to abandon this mission of hunting Ronan. 1 billion Baileys is good, but he must have his life to get it. Advertisement. Indeed, this Ronan is simply not something ordinary bounty hunters like us can deal with. Let those powerful guys deal with it. Anyway, I intend to give up. Another bounty hunter also shook his head and sighed. After a sigh of relief, he planned to give up on the hunt for Ronan. HMPH, these guys are just stupid. I won't give up. 1 billion Baileys get it. I can wash my hands with the golden basin. Where will I not be at ease in the future? There are also bounty hunters who are unwilling to stop. Planning to continue to deal with Ronan, this one is. Then you go and deal with it, I won't go anymore. What? Didn't we agree to be together? Do you want to die? Don't hold me, let Lousy stay away. Okay. Don't regret it, 1 billion Baileys will be mine by that time. Hee, waste like you wants to hunt Ronan. Don't you think Marine is that simple? Even they have suffered such a big loss in Ronan's hands. Do you think you can be better than them? I think about it again. Haha, didn't you just say you want to continue hunting Ronan? FK off, Lousy was angry just now. Ronan didn't know that the bounty hunters who came later had planned to give up hunting him. Just be ready for death. After replenishing the materials, the three set off again. This time, they did not need to replenish the materials again before resisting the upside-down mountain. The next time they docked, they would be in East Blue. Upside-down mountain is a very peculiar place in the pirate world. This place, where the 4 seas converge, is also the only place that enters the Grand Line from the 4 seas apart from the Calm Belt. Of course, if you have to say that you can fly there, then it is I did not say. Finally arrived at Upside Down Mountain. It's so spectacular. Robin looked at the surging sea water gathered in front, and cried out happily. She had never had a chance to see such a magnificent scene before. She had long heard that Upside Down Mountain was the most spectacular scene in the world. Today she finally saw it with her own eyes. It's really spectacular. It is also the first time Ronan has seen such a spectacular sight. The Upside Down Mountain in the place where the 4 seas converge is simply against the law. If you don't see it with your own eyes, you can't imagine that such a landscape is a natural occurrence just by listening to others. Even if Ronan saw it with his own eyes, he didn't believe it. He even felt a little bit that this place might be a relic left by ancient civilization. This idea is not groundless. The pirate world itself is abnormal. Advertisement. Think about it. Giants with a height of tens of hundreds of meters, small humans the size of fingers, murlocs in the sea, sky island people with angel wings in the sky, and even more exaggerated sea kings. Is it possible for these creatures? Is it a species left over from an ancient civilization with advanced biotechnology? There is also devil fruit. According to legend, they all come from the fruit of a devil fruit tree. Can this thing be born naturally? There are also 3 ancient weapons. Pluton may have been researched by humans hundreds of years ago, but the mermaid princess who represents Poseidon is not that simple, let alone the mysterious Uranus. Ronan is very suspicious that there was a splendid civilization in ancient times, and the main body of this civilization is nothing else. It is the D family, and the D family has always been the target of suppression by the world government. The Celestial Dragons are part of the 800. It was a country that established the world government a year ago. It was a slave under the rule of the D clan. For some reason, the world government was established after the master was defeated, and then the truth of the 100 years was hidden. So many things make sense. Brother Ronan, we are going to the Upside Down Mountain, I'm a little scared. While Ronan was thinking, Robin on the side took Ronan's hand and said nervously. Ronan looked up and saw that the Julong had already followed the seawater flowing backwards, heading towards the top of the Upside Down Mountain very fast, and the entire ship was about to tilt to 90 degrees. Hold on to me, Aunt Orovia, come over too. Ronan said immediately, And then he pulled Orovia to his side, standing on the deck with his feet rooted, and he didn't tumble to the ground due to the tilt of the hull. Oh ah ah, this exciting scene made Robin scream involuntarily, but it was not afraid. With Ronan by her side, she was not worried about her safety, but yelled happily. This naughty look, where is the adult that kind of mature and stable appearance in the original book? Orovia also showed a slight smile at this moment, but she also held Ronan tightly with her hands to prevent herself from being thrown off. Ronan smiled at the corner of his mouth, turning the mountain upside down. I wonder if there is any reward for such a world-famous place. Surely it will be very good, right? System, sign upside down the mountain. Ronan immediately gave the sign in system a sign in instruction in his mind. Ding. Congratulations to the host, sign in successfully, get a reward, Wukongshu. Chapter 30 arrived in East Blue. Pass by perfectly. FK. When Ronan heard the reward, he was surprised. Wukongshu, isn't this dance from the Dragon Ball world? Check it out. Sky Dance. A flying skill from the Dragon Ball world, the ultimate flying speed depends on the strength of the host. Ronan was really overjoyed. He was still thinking before that if he didn't have the ability to fly, he would be afraid of the sea because of the side effects of devil fruit in the upper ocean, and he would have some worries. Now, with the dance of the sky, these are not problems. No matter how big the sea is, you are afraid of the sea. Lousy is flying into the sky, and I am afraid that you will get a woolen thread in the sea. It can be said that with a flying skill such as air dance, Ronan's only shortcoming in current strength has been filled, and he will no longer be afraid of any enemy, regardless of whether you have a large number of people or a strong personal strength. Ronan is not afraid. Siege, if I can't beat, I can fly away, if I beat, I will destroy you all. Singles. Ronan, who has the ability to fly, is now in the 4 seas. Whether you are 4 emperors or admiral, Ronan is not afraid. Even with his current strength, he still has the ability to defeat or even kill admiral. Ronan raised his head and laughed. With Wukong's skills, he was in a really good mood at the moment. The Julong flew across the mountains and climbed to the top of the upside-down mountain. It gradually stabilized, and then several passage openings where the currents converged appeared in front of the 3 of them. This is the place where the seas of the 4 seas converge. Ronan, look at the front, the largest passageway where all the seas converge and flow down. That's the entrance to the first half of the Grand Line. Orovia had been here before, she pointed to the front and introduced Ronan. Is that the entrance to the Grand Line? Robin stared at it. Hee. Grand Line, we are going to go sooner or later, but not now. Ronan chuckled, and then asked, which entrance is to East Blue? This entrance on the right. Orovia pointed to another entrance and said that countless seawater gushing out from that entrance at the moment, rushing towards the entrance to the sea where the Grand Line is located. Then we turn the bow of the ship and rush towards East Blue. Ronan controlled the giant wave and headed towards the entrance of East Blue. Advertisement. Although the entrance passage of the 4 seas is downward, the seawater is flowing upward. If the Jurang wants to go down, it needs to go upstream, and it takes some effort to go down. Grasp it all. Ronan yelled and steered the Julong back toward East Blue. Rumbling. The sea countercurrent also couldn't stop the JL from rushing towards East Blue, a little bit, slowly rushing towards East Blue. Finally, after a lot of hard work, the Julian successfully arrived at East Blue. East Blue, here we are. Robin exhaled for a long time, released his grip on Ronan, took a circle on the deck, and did a dance. East Blue, I haven't been here for a long time. Orovia smiled and said, the giant wave safely resisted East Blue, and she was also relieved. You must know that upside-down mountain is not so easy to break through, and it is not strong enough. Was the ship crashing and killing people on the way to the upside-down mountain? Countless. Even some large pirate groups, or even the marine fleet passing by, will be injured. However, the Julong successfully broke through, which shows that the Julong is indeed a strong and stable ship. It's East Blue, so where shall we go next? Robin asked. Of course it is to find a place to stop first, replenish the supplies first, and then have a good meal and drink before talking. Ronan said without hesitation. Wow, I approve of this idea. Robin nodded his head. East Blue's food is really good. Orovia said with a smile. I have eaten a lot of delicious food here before, and I will take you all to try it. Hey, I'm almost drooling now when I talk about it. Robin grinned. Then what are you waiting for? I'll raise the sails. Aunt Orovia is at the helm. Robin, go check the chart and find the nearest island to dock. With that, Ronan had already ran towards the mast. Let's go. ... And at this moment, just when Ronan and the 3 had passed the upside-down mountain from West Blue and successfully arrived at East Blue. Advertisement. Grand Line, Twin Gorges. A huge marine warship has already withstood here from Marineford. Marineford itself is in the first half of the Grand Line. The weather here is not as calm as the 4 seas. The risk of sailing here is far greater than that of the 4 seas. Therefore, although the Iron Fist Garp and Black Arm Zephyr hurry up, they still wasted some time on the way. It's finally upside-down mountain. At the bow of the warship, 2 majestic figures stood upright, like 2 big mountains, making the surrounding marines operating the warship a little breathless. Garp, we're going to West Blue next, that little guy Ronan, let me take care of it then. You just need to be in the back. One of the stalwart figures turned his head and looked to the side Garp and said, his figure is even stronger than Garp, all muscles, but one arm is missing, the right-hand part of the arm is missing, and a machine is installed. The arm looks hideous and terrifying. Zephyr, you can't underestimate that Ronan. Although this little guy is only a dozen years old, his strength is very terrifying. Don't take it lightly. Garp said in a deep voice, although he is the vice admiral rank, not higher than Zephyr, the admiral position, but he is not incapable of admiral, but he is unwilling to hold it. As someone who has fought against Rox and Roger, his strength is unquestionable in Marine. Of course, the strength of Black Arm Zephyr is also unquestionable. Black Arm Zephyr was famous before he took up the position of Marine Admiral. He began teaching in Marine school more than 10 years ago and has cultivated countless elites for Marine, among which the most famous it is Akainu, Kizaru, and Aokiji, the 3 future admiral. In addition, there are many vice admiral elites from the headquarters, all from his men. One can imagine how awesome this guy is. And it is precisely because of this that Marine was able to send such 2 best characters to West Blue to deal with Ronan. It is conceivable that Ronan has been given much attention. Even, these 2 people are already the strongest people Marine can handle. A little kid, what's to worry about? Zephyr said indifferently. All right. Garp put his arms around his chest, and didn't say much when he heard the words. Both of them are the pinnacle powerhouses in Marine. They have their own pride. Since Zephyr doesn't listen to himself, it's useless to say anything. He goes, whether he is holding the line in the rear, you can take a look at Ronan's methods, and then find a chance to take down Ronan in one fell swoop, there is no problem at all. The warship quickly passed the upside-down mountain, with a time difference of more than 10 minutes, perfectly staggered with the 3 of Ronan, and went straight to West Blue. The 2 wanted to go straight to West Blue, and immediately caught Ronan's purpose, which may not have been achieved. Garp and Zephyr didn't know that they had missed Ronan by more than 10 minutes. Ronan didn't know. He didn't even know that Naval Headquarters sent such 2 powerful men to hunt him down, and he started his own sign in business in East Blue. East Blue, however, has many places waiting for him to sign in. With his dance skills, signing in at various places will become easier. Chapter 31 Loguetown. Future Chef Karaman. East Blue, Loguetown. The giant wave slowly docked in the port of Loguetown. Ronan and the 3 got off the boat and walked into the town. Is this the hometown of the One Piece? I heard that he was executed here a few years ago. Robin looks at the people passing by. Loguetown is still very prosperous. In other words, it is also the era of the big pirate. As the hometown and execution place of the pirate king Roger who started this era, countless pirates come here every day to pay tribute to the pirate king. Of course, there is also Marine stationed here. Those pirates are dressed up as adventurers or ordinary people. Marine can't help them. After all, they can't tell whether they are ordinary people or pirates, unless they are those who have not been disguised. Thief. This island is still very prosperous. Orovia nodded and said, it was not so prosperous when I came here before. That's right, at that time Roger was not dead. Haha. In other words, because of Roger's death, he contributed to the development of Loguetown. Ronan laughed. The facts are almost the same. The previous Loguetown was hated by Marine because of Roger. Here the Marine garrison is also very elite, arguably the most elite in the entire East Blue, and even the Marine branch of East Blue is located not far from Loguetown. Speaking of Marine, Ronan rubbed his chin and looked at the people walking by on the road. He didn't see the patrolling seamen, and didn't know if the patrolling seamen here found that they were coming, would they take action against him. Ronan and the 3 did not do any disguise. Once they were seen by the Marines, they would definitely be recognized. In other words, he was also a big pirate who was offered a reward of 1 billion Baileys by the world government. Ronan, as the hometown of One Piece, there must be a lot of powerful crew members. Can we recruit some crew partners here? Robin thought and said, she hadn't forgotten that Ronan had said about recruiting crew members before, but she especially hoped that a powerful chef could be recruited on the giant wave. Yes, we are not in a hurry anyway. We have all taken the longevity potion and have such a long life. In the future, we can spend more time on the islands, eat more and be fine, and visit some interesting places. Ronan put his hands behind his head. Yuzai said. It has been almost a year since he came to Pirate World, and he is only 11 years old now. Coupled with the effect of the longevity potion, he is not afraid of wasting time or anything. The leisurely life of salted fish is very suitable for him. This is a good idea. Let's find a restaurant to try the food in Loguetown. Robin said very happily. Aunt Orovia, aren't you in a hurry? Ronan asked. Don't worry, Orovia said with a gentle face. Anyway, looking for things like the text of history can't be anxious. Otherwise, it will be hundreds of years. If it is so easy to find, the previous predecessors would have long been found it. Advertisement. Yeah, Ronan nodded and said. Actually, most of the inscriptions in the historical text should be on the Grand Line. Although there are also in the 4 seas, they are definitely a few. After we go to the Grand Line, we will definitely be able to find it. Quite a lot of historical text. Let's go, find a gourmet restaurant and taste the delicacy here. The 3 of them walked for a while and finally saw a restaurant. The restaurant was not big, but there were a lot of people waiting to enter the restaurant at the door. It is conceivable that this restaurant must be a restaurant with a good reputation. That's it, so many people line up to eat, it must taste good. Ronan said with a smile. I'm going to line up. Robin ran out quickly, lining up behind the crowd. Orovia smiled and shook his head. This girl, mentioned that she runs so fast, is really a gluttonous girl. After lining up for a while, it was finally their turn. After a taste, the food in this restaurant was indeed very good, even better than all the food in the restaurant that Ronan and the three had eaten before. Wow, the food in this store is so delicious. Mom, Ronan, you guys eat this fish, it's so delicious. Robin slaughtered a grilled golden fish, exclaiming in amazement. And this one is also very good. Ronan ate a piece of food in front of him, a grilled squid, very, very delicious. This soup is also very delicious. Orovia admired a bowl of soup with a spoon. Guests, this is the food you ordered, please taste it. At this time, a girl's voice came over. The girl came over with a large plate of shrimps and crabs, and put it on the table with great effort. Wow, I want to eat. Robin hurried to eat. Ronan looked at the girl who had brought the food. The girl had red hair and a tender complexion, but she was only 10 years old, not a few years older than himself. Ronan's heart moved. This girl looked familiar. After thinking carefully, isn't this girl the same Caroman who tried cooking in Loguetown with Sanji in the original book? Is this store owned by her? Ronan stopped eating, looked at the girl, and said, "Hello, is this your store? Or are you just a waiter here?" "What? Advertisement?" The girl was taken aback, and then replied, "Yes, this restaurant is owned by my father." "What?" Robin, who was raising and lowering his hands against the shrimp and crab, stopped immediately, and looked at Caruman with his big eyes. This girl is the daughter of the store manager. Don't know how her cooking skills are. She originally wanted Ronan to get the owner of this shop to join the ship, but she just saw the shopkeeper and his wife. They have a shop and a wife, and live a stable life in Loguetown. Promised to board. As for the girl in front of me, the daughter of the store manager will definitely be a great cook, right? As long as you can make such delicious food, you can find a way to get her into the group. Robin thought about this in his heart, ready to open his mouth to pull the other party into the group. Ronan spoke at this moment. "Hello, this is Ronan, do you know how to cook? Can you make such delicious food on the table?" When talking about cooking, Caruman raised his head immediately. "I have inherited all of my father's cooking skills. The food I make now is not worse than that of my father. Some of the food on your table is all made by me." "Well, that's really amazing." Ronan smiled immediately, thinking about how to abduct him. "Wow, you're so amazing." Robin next to him looked at him with an amazing look of you, and his eyes were turning steadily. Obviously he had the same idea as Ronan, and Orovia on the side saw this. She couldn't help showing a smile. Of course, she understood what the two were thinking, but the girl was so small that it was obviously unlikely to be abducted. The parents wouldn't let the girl go on board with a stranger, right? HMPH. I'm very good, Caruman said proudly with his hands on his hips. I am the world's #1 chef in the future. Such a big dream. Chapter 32 Fudge. Live in Loguetown. Ronan smiled and said, "But I heard that the best chefs in the world are all from North Blue. Even the best chefs from East Blue will not be among the top 10 in the world. It is difficult for you to fulfill your dreams. NS. Me." Upon hearing this, the girl was a little speechless. Indeed, the world's most powerful chefs are basically from North Blue, and at least 7 or 8 of the world's top 10 are from North Blue. It is conceivable that there is what a great chefs. I will definitely have hundreds of North Blue chefs in the future. Wait. Caruman said stubbornly. Actually, we are adventurers from West Blue. We plan to go to the Grand Line in the future, and we may also go to North Blue. Ronan brewed and said, many of those great North Blue chefs are gathered on the Grand Line. If you want to compete with them, you have to go to the Grand Line or North Blue. You, a girl, want to go there. It's not easy. When Caruman heard this, his brows were also frowned. Indeed, now that the sea pirates are rampant, it is extremely difficult for her to fulfill her dream. However, if you want, you can go to sea with us. Ronan said his purpose. Go to sea with you. The girl looked up and looked at Ronan trio with some confusion. This trio, an adult and 2 children, can this combination go to sea? Are you afraid that you were killed by those cruel pirates just when you went to sea? Seeing the girl's distrust and contempt in her eyes, Robin immediately became unhappy, and said, why, do you look down on us? I can tell you, Brother Ronan is very powerful, and I am also very powerful. I'm still Demon Fruit Power. Advertisement. Demon Fruit Power. When Caruman heard this, his eyes widened. She had heard of Demon Fruit Power. It was a group of people who had gained special powers after eating devil fruit. It was very powerful, she had seen it on the street. There was a battle between Marine and a pirate with the devil fruit ability. The pirate was particularly powerful, even wounding several Marines, and then successfully escaped from the encirclement of the Marine fleet. Later, Marine even sent a lieutenant colonel with the devil fruit ability to hunt down the pirate. As for whether he was hunted down, she was not sure. Yes, look, Robin said. With a move of his right hand, he saw that Robin's right arm was split. On his white arm, it was like a flower. Several arms appeared, which shocked Caruman, but then he looked at him with excitement. Robin. A demon fruit power appeared in front of her, still so close, she was very curious and interested. It's a strange ability to make so many hands. Caruman said excitedly. If I have this ability, it would be much easier to cook. Well, it really deserves to be a chef. This can also be associated with cooking, should it be worthy of being a person who dreams of becoming the world's best chef. You guys are really that great. Caruman still doesn't believe it. Although there is a demon fruit power, there are also capable ones among the pirates. Although Robin, a little girl under 10 years old, is capable, she still can't compare to those capable adult pirates. Of course, what am I? Brother Ronan is really good. Robin pointed to Ronan and said, Brother Ronan defeated a whole group of pirates in West Blue before. He is also an ability. Oh, and the strength is very strong, all the pirates are not opponents of Brother Ronan. Robin boasted, as if Ronan was already omnipotent. Caraman believed Robin's words, at least the three in front of him must have good strength, otherwise they wouldn't be able to come to East Blue from West Blue so intact and undamaged. I don't know how many pirates there are along the way, and the dangerous upside-down mountain, it's not easy to come over to East Blue safely. At this moment, Caraman was a little moved. She realized that she had reached a bottleneck in cooking. Her father's cooking had already been learned by her. There were not a few chefs in Loguetown that had the same skill as her. Thinking to fulfill your dream, you must not stay in Loguetown forever. You have to challenge the famous chefs who have traveled all over the world in the Grand Line to use other rare ingredients and try to make more delicious food. Before, she was young, unable to survive alone in the ocean, and her parents would not let her, such a small person, go to sea alone. If you want to go to sea, you can only follow the adventurers, but who knows the so-called adventurers? Is it a pirate disguised? Although there are many kind pirates in this world, more are still cruel pirates. She can't tell the difference between good and bad. Advertisement. The three people in front of them didn't look like bad guys. Two kids about the same age as them and a gentle-faced woman were unlikely to be bad guys, maybe. Let me think about it. Kuruman said hesitantly. Okay, don't worry, we plan to live in Loguetown for a while, you can think about it slowly. Ronan wasn't in a hurry. It was impossible to fudge the other party away. The three of them were strangers to Kuruman, so how could they gain the trust of each other at once? However, before Kuruman boarded the ship, he still had to keep a low profile. Otherwise, let the other party know that he was a big pirate with a billion Baileys wanted by the world government, but he would scare away the other party. As for getting on the ship later, that would not tolerate the other party's repentance, maybe Kuruman himself would be wanted in the future. Just like Robin and Orovia now, Robin was wanted by the world government with him before, and now the reward has reached 10 million Baileys, and Orovia was also wanted later, and the reward amount has reached 5 million Bailey. Therefore, Ronan has made up his mind to be a little low-key during this period of Loguetown, and it will be fine after he flicks the chef on board. Soon after Kuruman left, Ronan and the three also ran out of meals, and then paid to leave. After leaving, the three of them found a hotel in a very low-key manner and lived in Loguetown. It's not too early, today's sign in opportunity has not been used yet, it can't be wasted. In the hotel room, Ronan murmured, and then called the system in his mind. System, sign into Loguetown. Ronan directly signed into the entire Loguetown, intending to get a big reward directly, so he did not sign in separately. Although he could not sign in Loguetown in a short time after returning, he can sign in other places in East Blue in the future, although he has to settle in Loguetown. For a while, he doesn't want to sign in slowly. In a few days, he can go to other places in East Blue to sign in, and then return to Loguetown. Although he plans to settle for a period of time, this time will not be very long. NS. Chapter 33 Loguetown Sign In. Reward. Zanpakuto. Ding. Congratulations to host, sign in successfully, get, Zanpakuto a handle. Ronan's expression moved, Zanpakuto. Unexpectedly, this time I got a Zanpakuto, which is worthy of Loguetown. This reward is fine. Zanpakuto. Special weapons used by Shinigami from the world of Shinigami, soul casting, conversion between reality and reality, can awaken different forms and functions of Zanpakuto by virtue of their own spiritual will and soul, and have extra lethality to the spirit body. The state at the moment is, not awakened. Ronan checked the introduction of this Zanpakuto, and became interested immediately, not knowing whether this Zanpakuto was Zangetsu or not. After all, it is the Zanpakuto used by the protagonist of Shinigami. Even if it is not the strongest Zanpakuto, it is also the most famous one. But Ronan thought for a while, among all Zanpakuto, which one matched him best? It should be Ryujin Jaka, right? I now have the Mera-mera Fruit ability, and I don't know how to use the flame ability. I am so proficient. Is that also the entrance to the room? If you cooperate with Ryujin Jaka, who else is his enemy in this pirate world? I hope it's Ryujin Jaka. Ronan muttered easily and received the reward. In an instant, a name that seemed to have existed in his mind for a long time appeared, and he remembered it, as if it had been engraved in the soul, and would never fade away. Senbon Sakura. Ronan was a little surprised. The Zanpakuto he got was not Zangetsu or the most anticipated Ryujin Jaka, but Senbon Sakura. Well, although it is not what I expected, Senbon Sakura seems to be quite strong. It still depends on the user's ability. With my current soul strength, the liberated Senbon Sakura, even in the face of the supreme sword, let's just let it go. Let alone, almost all Zanpakuto are actually created to deal with spirit bodies. Ronan thought. Of course, even if Zanpakuto is mainly dealing with spirits, it has the ability to transform from reality to reality, and it is almost impossible to be destroyed. After all, its essence is the condensed soul. The stronger the soul, the stronger Zanpakuto is. There are differences, and their abilities are different, so there is the so-called difference between strength and weakness. Advertisement. Now that he got Zanpakuto, Ronan has time now, so let him go. Spread it. Senbon Sakura. Ronan yelled out Senbon Sakura's Shikai language. Immediately, He felt that there was a flower in front of him, and the whole person had fallen into a deep sleep appearance, and what he meant was that he had come to the soul space, or it could be called the consciousness space. Ronan Senbon Sakura's soul space is still somewhat different from Byakuya Kuchiki in Shinigami's original work. Senbon Sakura's human form is also different. It is not the form of a warrior with a grimace mask in the original work, but the appearance of Ronan when he grows up. Young man. The man's face was cold and handsome, and he looked at Ronan who suddenly appeared in front of him indifferently, holding a long knife in his hand. Compared with Ronan's current appearance, the man that Senbon Sakura turned into was obviously very handsome and cold-hearted. At first glance, he was a peerless handsome man who could dump thousands of young girls. Ronan's mouth twitched and felt a bit of toothache. This Senbon Sakura's appearance turned out to be what he looked like when he was an adult. Is he so stinky when he is an adult? It must be impossible. A person who is such a gentle person cannot be so cold in front of him. This should be Senbon Sakura's own character. To complete Shikai, you must beat me. Senbon Sakura said coldly, slowly raising the long knife in his hand and pointed it at Ronan. Is it enough to beat you? Ronan raised his brows, but when he saw the long knife in his hand, he was a little speechless, because he didn't have a weapon in his own hand. You are a Zanpakuto, and you still have a knife in your hand. Ronan's heart moved. This is his own soul space, or rather, the soul space of himself and Senbon Sakura. Although Senbon Sakura itself has its own personality and even its own independent thought, it is born by Ronan's own soul. Yes, it is impossible to appear out of thin air, as if the opponent's appearance is the appearance of Ronan when he is an adult. After all, even with an independent mind and character, it is just a weapon. If it is a weapon, someone needs to use it, and Ronan is his master. But if you want to become his master, you must defeat him. But the other party had weapons in his hands, but he didn't. The reason why Ronan's heart moved was that the soul space of both parties, the other party could have weapons, and he could have them. So, his will condense, and suddenly, he has been using them in his hands. The sun wheel looks like a knife. Don't forget that the sun wheel is also a powerful weapon against ghosts, even if it is not as professional as Zanpakuto, it will not be much worse. As a result, Ronan and Senbon Sakura, who were holding the sun wheel, faced off. The confrontation did not last long, and Ronan did not want to spend time with the other party. He still had to defeat Senbon Sakura as soon as possible and complete Zanpakuto's Shikai. Drink. Ronan let out a soft drink, and the person rushed out and slashed towards Senbon Sakura. Advertisement. Senbon Sakura looked calm, raised the long knife in his hand to block it, and then fought fiercely with Ronan. After some battle, Ronan found that the opponent's swordsmanship was not worse than his own, and even used his own swordsmanship, Luyun swordsmanship, which made Ronan angry. However, he also knew that the opponent was born from his own soul, and it is not even an exaggeration to say that it is a second personality. It is reasonable to know all the skills of his own, but it is indeed a little different from Zanpakuto in Shinigami's original work. Ronan fought tirelessly with Senbon Sakura all night. In the end, with a strong will, he defeated Senbon Sakura and successfully completed Zanpakuto's Shikai. Early the next morning, Ronan opened his eyes, and a sharp sword energy flashed past his eyes. Finally completed Shikai, but I'm really exhausted. Ronan muttered to himself, it was really difficult to fight an enemy who knew him very well. The Senbon Sakura form in the soul space was no worse than his fighting power, and even knew himself better than Ronan himself. The early battle was simply suppressed by Senbon Sakura. In the fight, Ronan wouldn't necessarily be able to defeat the opponent if it weren't for the firm will and resistance. Perhaps because my soul is too strong, it is too difficult to defeat the opponent. The Shikai in Shinigami's original work is not that difficult. Even some people do not need to fight to complete Shikai, but only need to let the other party's approval is enough. Ronan shook his head, then got up. Let me see what Senbon Sakura looks like. Ronan whispered. Spread it, Senbon Sakura. Shikai said, and with a brush in his hand, a long knife appeared, slender and magnificent, much more beautiful than the sun wheel knife. Click. Ronan pulled the knife away, looked at the silver-white blade, and nodded in satisfaction. It's not bad, this Senbon Sakura looks really good. After it is materialized, I think even if it looks like the supreme sword in this world. Compared to that, it's not bad, and even as the strength of my soul strengthens again, Senbon Sakura's room for growth will be much larger in the future. Brother Ronan, are you up? Robin's voice rang outside the bedroom door. Coming. Ronan replied, and then shook his hand. Senbon Sakura turned into a purple light and dissipated. The purple light was as beautiful as scattered sakura flowers, floating away, and then disappeared. Chapter 34 Shikai. Angry Zephyr and Garp. Senbon Sakura has completed Shikai. Although Shikai's process is a bit strange and not the same as the original, Ronan understands that this is because the system rewards him directly. It must be different, and he even knows it now. With Senbon Sakura's real name, and Senbon Sakura itself has been embodied, he has already defeated the opponent in the soul space. In the future, as long as the opponent completely succumbs to his master, completing Bankai is easy and no difficulty. Ronan thought for a while, put on his clothes and walked out. Brother Ronan, have you eaten breakfast? Robin stood at the door playfully and looked at Ronan. Nonsense, I just got up, how could I have had breakfast? Ronan turned Byakugan and said. Fortunately, he worked hard all night and fought Senbon Sakura. Although it was a fight of soul and will, his body was not tired, but still a little tired mentally. After thinking for a while, Ronan directly took out a bottle of psychoactive potion and drank it. In an instant, all of the overnight consumption was restored. Oh, what good things do you drink, Brother Ronan? Robin looked at Ronan greedy. Psychopharmaceutical, you don't need it for restoring your spirits. Ronan said and asked, what about Aunt Orovia? How come you are the only one? Mom, she has gone downstairs to buy breakfast. I am here to call you to eat breakfast. Well, let's go. The two went downstairs and found Orovia. The three had breakfast together, and then strolled around Loguetown in a low-key manner. The three settled down in Loguetown for a short time. The time passed quickly. Half a month has passed. Ronan left Loguetown from time to time and checked in elsewhere on the island. The rewards he received were not very good, compared with Zanpakuto. Sometimes, I would go to Karuman's restaurant to eat delicious food, and constantly fudge her in front of Karuman and quickly make up his mind. ... Advertisement. At this moment, West Blue, Garp and Zephyr were a little angry. The large warship the two were riding on was docked in the military port of the West Blue branch at the moment, and the two of them were standing in front of the commander of the West Blue branch at this moment. It's been half a month. I haven't found that Ronan. Zephyr asked the opponent angrily. Although the opponent is the commander of the West Blue branch, all marine forces in the entire West Blue are under the control of the opponent. Come, it's definitely not as good as Zephyr, so Zephyr is also the headquarters of Admiral. Although Garp is only the headquarters of Vice Admiral, it has the same military rank as the opponent, but Garp's status are even higher, and cannot be considered by military rank alone. Yeah, Dorrance, your efficiency is too low. Garp also looked at the commander of the West Blue branch in front of him, frowning. We have been in West Blue for half a month. You should know how important the situation in New World is now, although there are other admiral and large fleets stationed there. But now that the two of us are here, the headquarters is still a bit empty. In case Whitebeard and the others suddenly truce and attack the headquarters together, it will be too late when we receive the news and rush back. 2. I know your time is precious. West Blue Branch Commander Dorrance Vice Admiral said bitterly, but I really did my best. I sent many people to search Ronan's traces as soon as you arrived, but that guy seemed to disappear. Generally, I just can't find it. How is it possible? Garp said in a deep voice, that guy has never hidden a trace, how could he not find it? Could it be that he has left West Blue? It's not clear, but it's possible. Dorrance said. The last news about Ronan and his party was that the other party had appeared on an island near Upside Down Mountain and killed 8 bounty hunters, and then others. Perhaps the bounty hunters of Japan were overwhelmed by their cruel methods. They did not continue to hunt Ronan, but they all dispersed, and we lost Ronan's trace. What? You have lost the trace of Ronan? Zephyr was furious, and he was about to get angry immediately, but Garp stopped him. In that case, the other party may indeed have left West Blue. So, did he go to the Grand Line or to the other 3 sea areas? Garp has a headache. I don't know where Ronan is now or what happened to the two of them. Deal with Ronan. The world is so big, the sea is so vast, and there is only 1 ship and 3 people. How can they find it? I have reported the news to the branches of the other 3 large seas, and asked them to pay attention to the whereabouts of Ronan and the others. Once they find out, they will notify me immediately. Dorrance said quickly. Oh, this can only be done. Garp sighed, knowing how difficult it is to find Ronan in such a big ocean, especially when the opponent might leave West Blue. But you can't give up searching for West Blue. What if he doesn't leave West Blue? Garp said. Advertisement. Yes, I also took this into consideration. Dorrance nodded. While waiting for news from the other 3 seas, I will not give up looking for Ronan in West Blue, but... But what? Zephyr asked muffledly. However, I am afraid that Ronan did not go to the other 3 sea areas, but went to the Grand Line. You know the situation of the Grand Line. If you want to find Ronan there, I don't have the ability to do it. Maybe you need to. The strength of the headquarters will work, Dorrance said. Garp groaned and said, I will report this to the headquarters, so that the headquarters will also send a fleet to search for Ronan's traces. Even if he goes to the Grand Line, it can only be in the first half. If you go to New World, you will definitely pass Sabayati Archipelago, and I will let someone guard there. Then what if he enters a place like Calm Belt? How to find it? Zephyr said dully. This mission was extremely uncomfortable. He thought he would be able to solve Ronan when he came to West Blue. After wasting so much time, he didn't even see Ronan's face. If this is the case, there is really no way. Garp sighed. What the hell is really irritating? Zephyr angrily said, or we should go back to the headquarters, wait for him to show up next time, and then catch him, otherwise, have we been stuck in this West Blue? Nothing. Wait a few more days to see. Garp said. It's really impossible and it can only be so. After all, we can't really stay in West Blue for too long. The headquarters needs you, and I have to go to New World. Sit down. Yeah, Zephyr nodded, then looked at Dorrance. You take the time to stare at the people under you, don't let them be lazy. I will pay attention. As Dorrance said, he went down and arranged personnel to go. It's really unlucky. Where did Ronan hide? Wouldn't he really hide? There is a possibility, but the more likely possibility is to leave West Blue. I hope that there will be good news from the other 3 ocean areas. Otherwise, our trip will be for nothing. Chapter 35 Super Reward. Prehistoric Chi Refining Technique. Zephyr and Garp waited in West Blue, and waited for more than half a year. For more than half a year, they dispatched personnel to search for Ronan's traces in West Blue. Unfortunately, no news of Ronan was returned. Not only that, there was no news of Ronan from the other 3 large sea areas, and there was no news of Ronan on the Grand Line, the naval headquarters dispatched to collect the news, which made them scratch their heads. In desperation, the 2 of them could only go back home and return to naval headquarters. This time they came out to capture Ronan, but they couldn't even find Ronan. How could they be caught? I can only wait for Ronan to show up next time and make plans. ... When the 2 of Garp returned to their headquarters, Ronan's life was very moisturized. It's been almost half a year since the 3 of them came to East Blue. Of course, it is impossible to stay in Loguetown all the time. After a short period of refurbishment in Loguetown, he set off again and went to other areas of East Blue to play, and also asked Orovia to inspect the ruins everywhere. As the giant wave was modified, the 3 of them were very low-key, so nothing was discovered by East Blue's marine. As for the individual pirates who made their mines, they were all buried in the sea. On this day, Ronan and the 3 came to Windmill Village, the hometown of the protagonist of the plot. Luffy was born here and started his magnificent life. After arriving at Windmill Village, Ronan started to sign in on the same day and directly signed into the entire island. To get a big reward, he had to sign in a large area. If the system didn't allow him, he wanted to sign into the entire East Blue directly. System, sign into the island where Windmill Village is located. Ronan said in a deep voice. The island where the Windmill Village is located is not only this village, but also a very large island, on which there is also the Goya Kingdom, a larger country with East Blue. This time, I directly signed the entire island. I want to reward it with absolutely no difference, even compared to it. The rewards for turning the mountain upside down may be good. Ding. Congratulations to host, sign in successfully, reward, prehistoric chi refining technique. The system said. The primordial chi refining technique, a practice method from the primordial world. Due to the particularity of the primordial world, there are no restrictions in this world. After the host has practiced, it can directly use space power to extract spiritual energy from all realms for practice. The law is relatively common in the primordial world, but the primordial world is the top and highest world of the heavens in all realms. Therefore, the level of the practice is extremely high. Please be careful with host. Advertisement. This is the reward for signing in this time so good. Ronan's eyes widened, with an unbelievable look. The primordial chi refining technique, even if it is relatively common in the primordial world, is relative to the primordial world. According to the system, it is a great realm that belongs to the top ranks even among the heavens and the world. Receive award. Without hesitation, Ronan immediately received the reward. Suddenly, a magnificent and immortal breath rose from his mind, and a mysterious message appeared in his mind. It is the information about the exercises of the prehistoric chi refining technique. After a while, Ronan opened his eyes, with a hint of excitement in his eyes. This prehistoric chi refining technique is really powerful, with a very high personality, and can be practiced in any world. It is not restricted by the laws of the world at all, and the highest realm turned out to reach Daluo. Terrible and powerful. What is the concept of the realm of Daluo? Throughout the ages, it has been the only one in countless parallel worlds. The heavens are immortal, and they are immortal. This is the existence of the realm of saints second only to transcending the 10,000 realms. The great realm of primordial chi refining technique is divided into 3 levels, namely the mortal realm, the fairy realm, and the great Luo realm. Among the 3 realms, some are subdivided into the mortal realm with 9 levels, the fairy realm with 6 levels, the big Luo realm with 3 levels, and the 18th level. Immediately Ronan began to practice, and it took about a month to finally enter the mortal realm. As soon as he started, his strength increased by a large amount, and his lifespan was also greatly increased. The lifespan has reached 500 years, and as the realm increases, the lifespan will increase even more, until reaching the fairyland, at which time his lifespan is almost unlimited, and reaching the great Luoxing is a real meaning. The eternal life above, the heavens will not die, and he will not die. Unless there is a saint who wants to destroy the world and destroy the heavens and worlds, he will die. After all, the saints are all ants, and only the saints are truly immortal and eternally at ease. However, that is still too far away from the current Ronan. Only after reaching the great Luo realm can he be qualified to touch the saint realm. He feels that he will be qualified one day. With the prehistoric chi refining technique, Ronan spends most of the time in cultivation, so that his life will be faster. It often takes 10.5 months for a retreat to practice. This makes Robin a little disappointed. She often came to find Ronan to go out to play, but Ronan was busy practicing, so she could only go out to play alone, or go out to explore archaeology with Orovia. However, there is no good archaeological place in Fengche village. A few people stayed for a while and then planned to leave. At the port of Windmill Village, the Julong is about to leave. Robin stands by the port and says goodbye to friends he knows in Windmill Village. Advertisement. Standing in front of Robin was a gentle and kind little girl, about the same age as Robin, named Makino, a good friend Robin met here, and the two got along very well. Robin, you are going to see me in Windmill Village next time. Makino said reluctantly. Don't worry, we will definitely come to you next time we come here. Robin nodded and said, with reluctance in her eyes. This is one of her few friends. She even wanted to take her on the boat and take an adventure together. Unfortunately, Makino's family didn't agree, and she herself didn't like that kind of drifting at sea. A life without a home. Then we are settled, Makino said lively. Well, it's settled. After saying goodbye, Robin got on the boat, and the three of them slowly left the windmill village in the boat. Makino in the port was still shaking his hands hard to say goodbye, and Robin also stood at the stern and waved. Well, we will come back in the future, don't be reluctant, and we will pass by here when we go to Diandao Mountain in the future. Ronan breathed out. HMPH, we are now leaving the windmill village. I can't play with Makino in a short time. Asking you to accompany me. You said you don't have time. You have been busy cultivating immortals lately. I think you are all intoxicated. Robin said unhappily. I'm busy with big business. The great event of cultivating immortals is a trifle. He has to hurry up to reach the second level of the mortal realm. Now the first level has not greatly improved his strength. The four-dimensional attributes have increased by about 30 points each. His current strength is almost invincible for this world, but for the heavens and the realms, it has just begun. Judging from the methods of this system reward, his future is definitely not fixed in the pirate world forever, and it is definitely possible to enter the vast stage of the heavens and the world. If you don't improve your strength when it's safe now, how can you compete with those peerless arrogances of the heavens and worlds in the future?